It's so hard to make it in America. I tried. Why is it so hard?
Yeah,
Why is it so hard?
I know I'm a Hebrew Israelite, man. From the tribe of Levi.
It's so hard.
Yeah,
Shalom, shalom, shalom.
let's get it.
All praises to the Most High. Ahaya, Asha Ahaya. Welcome to the Search Engine International, everyone. I'm your host, Brother Gocc. Joining me shortly would be Elder Rakar. And I trust everyone had a good week since I spoke to you. Couple interesting developments we've been looking at over the week. I'm gonna touch on a few of them, a few of the topics, a few of that tonight. And so it goes. Shout out to all the people, the new listeners who are tuning in. Big up to all my friends them down there in Leeds who tuning in right now. Big up to Shorty and the family down there who tuning in. Manchester, London, Bradford, Leeds, and some other brothers and sisters out there in Jamaica who tuning in. Big up Barbados, Martinique, Dominica, Cuba, my brothers and sisters over there in Africa who tuning in, the brothers them down there in the south, brother Kuda down there in Zimbabwe. Let me see, what am I leaving out? Brothers over there up northeastern Africa. You understand, the brothers up in the northern parts of Africa who tuning in, and the brothers on the west side of Africa who tuning in. Big up yourselves to the brothers them who are holding it down in Babylon who tuning in. Big up yourselves. You understand me? Elder Gabar up there on the East Coast. Just, a shout out to everyone. You get me? The work, everyone putting in the work, man, and dealing with it, man, and growing this truth and getting it out, Once again, big up to everybody. Once again, thank you all for tuning in. All right, and to remind everyone, we broadcast 4 days a week. Let me see. We have on the Thursdays at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard. We have What Scripture Is That by Brother Ra'ai, and that starts at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. On Friday we have the Coming Out of Babylon show with Brother Romar. That also starts at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard. And on a Sunday at 10 p.m. we have Brother Xavier with the Hebrew Ways Life. And that brings us back to Wednesdays. We have the Search Engine International with myself and Elder Rakar. And, we're trying to get the word out, so spread the word out to your family, get them, logging in, get them, let them listen to what's going on. It's high time, you understand me? And, it's like, I don't even know where to go with it, man, because it's like so many things happening right now throughout the earth. You understand me? In regards to our people, that needs to be heard. You understand me? This truth needs to be out there. But anyways, as we go on, we can talk about some of these issues and some of these things that's going on around the world. All right. I want to make some announcements also. The Hebrew and Bible Academy starts on Sunday, March the 24th, and enrollment has been extended until March 22nd. If you would like to reserve a seat, please send an email to the Gathering of Christ Church at gatheringas1@AOL. That is gathering as the number 1 at AOL.com. And I'll repeat it, gatheringas1@AOL.com. And if you could send this in by March 22nd to enroll into the upcoming academy. And I'll repeat this as the show goes on. Also, the holy days for the calendar of 2013 have now been updated on the website, so you can go and check that out at the gatheringofchristchurch.org. Okay, make a note of them, and join us. We know that right throughout the world on the 29th, the brothers will be dealing with the Passover. So try and find out wherever it's happening nearest you, and partake join in. You understand? A bit of we just got the calendar days right, so we're looking to bring in this year on a positive, being having the dates in check. All right, so you can contact for the different areas in which you are. If you're in Texas, Florida, Atlanta, I think there is Canada, New York, in the UK, you contact myself, and I'll give you an email address as well that you can get me on, or just contact the church itself at gatheringas1@aol.com if you would like to partake with a Passover in the respective areas. Okay, and what else is there for me to bring up? All right. Okay, the topic tonight we're gonna be dealing with. We have a doctor coming into the show in about 15 minutes or so, and her name is Ela Bauer. Okay. Now let me read something about on Ela Bauer for you. It says Ela Bauer is the chair of the Department of Communication and Film at the Seminar HaKibbutzim College in Tel Aviv. In addition, she teaches in the Jewish History Department at Haifa University and is the academic coordinator of the Poison Research Forum for Jewish, European, and Israeli political thought at the Haifa University Faculty of Law. Her academic interest includes the history and culture of Polish Jewry and the history of the Jewish press. Her book, Between Poles and Jews, the development of Nahum Sokolow's political thought, was published in a series of the Center for Research on the History and Culture of Polish Jews in 2005. Her recent articles are dealing with the triangular discourse of the role of Yiddish that played out in the pages of Hasifera, Hamalites, Hamagid in the last decade of the 19th century. The Jewish-Polish intelligentsia in Warsaw, Jan Gottlieb, Bloch, and Hyman Alexander von Humboldt. Okay, and these are those articles in which she's published recently. She'll be joining us in about 15 minutes. Okay, and let me repeat her name. Her name is Dr. Ela Bauer. All right, so we're gonna have a conversation with her as well in your studies and so on. Okay, so grab your pen, paper, grab your notepad. Should be a very interesting show. And with me also Elder Rakar. Elder Rakar, you there?
Yeah, shalom. How are you?
I'm good, sir. And yourself?
I'm doing well. I'm ready for the show this evening.
Okay, all right. So, without further ado, let's bring the guest in. We have Dr. Bauer with us.
Yes.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello, Dr. Bauer.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi. I'm fine. How are you?
I'm good. All right. For the listeners, Dr. Bauer is the chair of the Department of Communication and Film at the Seminar HaKibbutzim College in Tel Aviv. Is that correct, right?
Yes, correct. You pronounce it very well.
Okay. I read a little bit about you before you came on. Is there anything you'd like to just go over, just a brief introduction of yourself to the listeners?
That in addition to be the chair of the Media and Film Department in Seminar Kibbutzim College, I'm also a historian. That my research are on Polish Jewry and the end of the 19th century and the beginning of the 20th century. And now I am a visiting professor at UC Davis in California.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess we probably could just go straight and deal with it. We know that you study on the European conversion into Judaism, right? And we wanted to talk to you on the Khazarian Empire, and the information that you have in regards to that.
Okay, so we are talking about actually a very old phenomenon that in a way for many years we didn't really know if it's right, if it's a kind of, a legend, a folklore, or something that really was. And in a way, it's a very nice story. It's a story that tells us that how in the early age, a kingdom that really was not that familiar, not to other part of the world, and not to even Jews, following their king, and decided to convert literally in a very, very short time. And many people really didn't know. I mean, it was a nice story, and many people said that basically this nation that converted was the origin of the Eastern European Jewry that, as we know, until 1939, the beginning of World War II, was the biggest Jewish center in the world. And Mike can even say one of the important Jewish center of the 19th and the 20th century. So for many years we didn't have quite of evidence if this story was right or it wasn't right. Only relatively late, at the end of the second half of the 20th century, there was opportunity after the communist world collapsed. There were opportunity to different researchers and other really were interesting at this issue to find out more, even to get to this area and try to find out other evidence to this an amazing story. So only like I would say in the end of the 80s, the beginning of the 90s, we definitely got an improvement that this story did exist. It's not kind of a legend and it's not a folklore, and this is something that really happened. That basically a really huge group, almost a nation with their king, decided to convert from Christianity to Judaism.
Okay. So where?
However, yes, sorry.
No, okay, sorry. Go ahead.
But however, we do have to remember that they were probably a significant part of the later European, Eastern European Jewish world, but to this world there are other sources as well. It wasn't the only sources of the Jews who lived in the Russian Empire and other parts of Eastern European world at the following decade.
So if I understand what you're saying, it wasn't just the Khazarians as Europeans who converted. There were also other Europeans who also converted.
There were, no, okay, so there no, but there were other Jews from other parts of Europe that basically from the, I would say the 15th century and the 16th century moved to Eastern Europe, immigrated mostly from Germany areas to the areas that later on we knew as the Poland-Lithuanian kingdom.
Okay.
So, yeah. So they were not local people, but people who came from mostly from Germany area and also other areas of Europe as well.
Right. So, all right. Let me ask you. All right. These that we know to be fact that are converts, right?
Can you repeat the question, please?
I said the fact that we know that there was a large conversion, right?
Right.
Of Europeans into Judaism, right?
Right.
Would it be fair to say that these who converted should identify themselves as converts?
Well, since it was very, very relatively old process, I don't think they would present themselves as converts anymore.
Oh, but they are though.
As a Jews, yeah.
They are converts.
Yes.
But okay, so and this probably going to bring me up into well, okay, hold on a sec. Let me bring Elder Rakari. Elder Rakari, you there?
But let me add something else, if I may.
Sure, go ahead.
We also have to remember that we don't know much about this convert process. Obviously, it was very different from the process that we know now, or even the process that was even like in the 19th century or the 18th century. Okay, so this is also something that we definitely have to take in consideration. Okay.
Okay. Hello. How are you doing this evening? This is Elder Ricard from the Gathering of Christ Church, and I want to thank you for coming on. Can you hear me clearly?
You're asking me?
Hello?
I hear you. Yes. Are you asking me? I hear you
yes.
quite clearly. Yes.
Yes. We wanted to thank you for coming on. There's some key points that we wanted to ask you because we have a few historians on within the last couple of months, and what you're saying openly now can be accepted, but I wanted you to probably speak to a great historian named Arthur Koestler, and why when he brought this same information, he was blackballed and ridiculed throughout all of Jewry. Can you
said what?
Can you expound on why Arthur Koestler was persecuted for bringing forth the same history and putting it in a book called 13th Tribe? Can you speak to that?
Well, I mean, I'm not that familiar with this historian work, so I'm not sure what really he really meant by that. But this again, when we're talking about all those kind of things, we really have to distinguish between, I would say, history that for many years was kind of oral history, and history that based on evidence, on written evidence. There is a really, really huge difference between those kind of things.
Well, what evidence did you view yourself to come to the conclusion that the Eastern Europeans did convert? What proof did you? Let me just point out again. When we're talking about Eastern European Jewry that convert, we're only talking about part of them. Okay, and what is the other part?
We definitely can't talk about all those.
Okay, that's fine. We just wanted to talk about the part that
we can talk about only partial of them. This is one thing that we have to remember.
Yes.
Another thing is I do not have the books with me here. However, I do familiar with works of other historians and definitely about people that were really, really interested in this topic, that definitely in the end of the relatively late, almost in the end of the 20th century, went to this historian place and found kind of letters, for instance, that were probably about people that were engaged with this king, that letters and other documents that are kind of evidence on connection that they had with the Jewish world. Ask questions, ask rabbinical questions and other about Judaism. Also, we have kind of evidence, things that Jews who, for instance, people who were engaged with the trade market came to this area and were very, very happy to share the story of those people with the rest of the Jewish people. And those are written documents. So this is how we can refer to them.
Okay. We do agree, because that's why we brought you on the show. We do agree and have studied the Khazarian conversion intently, and that's why we brought you on to see what type of evidence or proof you've had or any references. Let me ask you this, if you don't mind me asking, because I know you more so reside or go back and forth into Israel. What is your religious belief? Are you Jewish? What are you?
I am a Jewish. I am part of the Jewish people. I'm proud to be part of the Jewish people. However, I am not a religious person.
But you're not religious. So
no.
So this is why I'm asking, because just to quantify this real quick, the reason we're asking is we understand, especially the story that we have been moved to understand throughout the United States concerning the restoration of 1948. And it was predominantly, of course, it was predominantly taught in mainstream Christianity within the United States, especially our churches, that 1948 was a fulfillment of prophecy of the 12 tribes being restored to the land of Israel according to the Bible, according to biblical prophecy. Now, it wasn't until recent that we understood that atheists also had a hand in this. But while they were talking about the restoration, it was strictly a biblical phenomenon taught to the Western world. Can you speak on that?
Well, this is also something that, in a way, it's the how will I say that? The search after the lost tribes. It's very, very important story. It's very, very important tradition. We do know that we have a lot of, again, oral testimony about this. You know what? It's even very, very important myth of the Jewish people and, even of the rest of the world. So this is something is definitely part of my culture, part of the tradition, but as a professional historian, okay, this is something that it might be very, very hard for me to relate it, because today we do know that until now there are different ethnic groups all around the world that, especially, like a special group that calls itself, for instance, Bnei Menashe. Menashe is the name of one of the tribes. I believe they are around India, that present themselves as a member of the lost of the tribe, the Menashe tribe, and they are trying to find a way in the Jewish people. Rabbinical authority do not recognize them as a Jews. They are more than welcome to be part of the Jewish people. However, they have to do the whole convert process again. Okay? So there are also different talks about like tribes in, for instance, South America that also present themselves as member of the lost tribes, the 10 tribes that were considered to be lost for many hundreds of centuries of years. But then again, if those people want to be part of the Jewish people, again they will have to convert, to be to do the whole process of conversion according to the Orthodox or the accepted or tradition that Israel recognized as the way to become Jews. Does that answer your question?
It does, and that leads us to the next question, because that's quite interesting. I need you to answer this. If by bloodline one is a child of Israel, just say hypothetically, by bloodline someone is Chinese, right?
Right.
And they want to go to China because their forefathers are from China, right? And they don't have to be recognized as Chinese ethnically because they are Chinese. Why is it that one who know they are Hebrew based on Bible prophecy and according to bloodline must get some authenticity from someone else who may have converted?
Okay. So my question, I would say there will be two parts. The part is that if you ask me, as a member of the Jewish people, and in particular, and as I said before, someone who is not a religion person, my answer would be that everyone that he is feeling that he is part of the Jewish people are more than welcome. However, unfortunately, I'm not the one that doing those decisions.
So
and as you know, for many, for just a second, from historical and political reasons in Israel, the people who making those decisions or have a lot of input on all decisions are the Orthodox rabbinical authority. Today in Israel, as regarding to the political situation, we are definitely on a turning point. For now, it might be that the ultra-Orthodox will not be part of the future, the nearest future Israeli government. So it might be that we are going to see some change. And there is a lot, over the years, there was a lot of discussion whether what you are saying, if it's right to accept people, to the Jewish people, based on their claim that they are Jews, based on the wish to be part of the Jewish, people, and over the year, people decided it's not enough. There is also even very, very old Jewish phrase that sentence said, and I will say it in Hebrew, and we'll try to translate it, Kashim Gerim L'Israel, meaning the way to convert people, convert people to Israel, namely to the Jewish people, is hard. So this is why it's like this kind of tradition, not to do the way, not to do it in the easy way, but in the hard way.
Okay, well, this is why we invited you on, because maybe this conversation can get out there to someone. We have looked at we looked at the Bible strictly from a literal sense, and opposed to the religious, or what you would call the authority mainstream spin on how we should perceive or understand the world according to biblical scriptures and other historical facts we've found. And what's quite amazing, and I don't know if you've ran into this, we have found out that the original Hebrew, the 12 tribes, were the indigenous people were the majority, if not all of them, they were people of color. They were black people. Even in Acts the 13th chapter, it says that Barnabas and Peter was called Niger. They were called black.
And by the way, this really makes sense.
Yeah.
If we are talking about the area where where they were from, whether it was Canaan or ancient Egypt, that makes sense that the color was black. Absolutely.
Exactly. Now, but see, and that's why we're trying to bridge the gap to have this conversation, because we've noticed. I don't know what spin it is, but I know I've been in the Middle East, and there's really I don't think the Western world see the blatant racism that I've seen against some of the black people that are over there. I'm talking about a eugenics of sterilization of black Jews in Israel.
Right. Well,
I'm talking about straight racism of building prisons and trying to extradite Africans and black people who want to make Israel their home and want to welcome it, knowing that it was part of their original culture. They're not looking to harm people, and they just want to live as Hebrews. But it seems like the Western world, we're taught that black people are embraced by the government. It seems when you go there, it's something different. Can you speak to that?
Well, I have to be honest with you. It will be very hard to speak with me because I strongly, I'm quite agree with you, and I think I am part of Israeli that we really see. We are looking at this development, namely the racism of some Israeli to I would say new population that really want to turn Israel to their house, and many of them to their home, and many of them are black people or other minority, and unfortunately they face very, very hard and racism, and I'm part of the Israeli that against it, that demonstrated it. So honestly, it will be very hard to defend what can be considered as a racism position of some Israeli. So I'm sorry that because I'm strongly it's really touched me, and it's really I think it's very, very moving, the fact that those people want to live in Israel and see Israel as their home. And I strongly wish and believe to the Israeli and even to the rest of the world that kind of solution and kind of a change would be, and we will find a way to integrate those kind of groups to Israel and to see them as new Israeli. But I would like to add something about something that you said before, that you mentioned the Bible as your sources, and
that's one of the sources. Only the
one of the sources. Yeah. Okay.
Only the historic archaeology that can be proven biblically is what we hold to. You understand?
But
all in all, we understand there's other scripture and other history and other secular sources that can corroborate.
I'm strongly believing. I'm talking about not about other evidence, but I'm talking about how they show the holiness of the Bible, which obviously it's a great book, and it's a wonderful book, and it's wonderful that different religions can see it as kind of immutable sources for holiness. But however, we do remember that when we are talking about the Orthodox Judaism, and mostly, and in addition to the ultra-Orthodox, they have other sources for holiness and religious sources that are not only based on the Bible code. Their Judaism, in a way, even I would say my Judaism is not only based on the Bible. It's based on the other the rabbinical literature. In other books, such as the Mishnah, the Talmud, and all this, that one would say even that for them, as an additional, as a law book, are more important than the Bible.
Yeah.
So we have to take in consideration these things as well.
Okay. All right. So let's talk about it real quick. The Talmud have its origins in ancient Babylon.
Mm-hmm. right?
Right.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Now,
There are two Talmud. Yeah, the one that from ancient Babylon and the one from like ancient Palestine. Yes, that's correct. The Jerusalem one.
Exactly. So, speaking of the Talmud and also the Kabbalah, also there's certain levels of mysticism.
Sorry for interrupt you. I think that we will have to leave the Kabbalah outside of this story, because Kabbalah there are different approach. Not all, and definitely not all the authority would see the Kabbalah as something that's equal to the Talmud and to the Bible.
But I noticed that many diplomats and many people of prestige are going to Israel to study the Kabbalah, as you know.
Yes, I do know it, and it's a fascinating phenomenon. But still, when we're talking about the official Jewish word and the rabbinical authority, nevertheless, the status of the Kabbalah is a little bit controversial, and definitely it's not equal, not to the Talmud and not to the Bible.
Okay,
and it's great. It's a great literature. It's a very, very spiritual thing. But as regard to halakha, to a law sources, it has a different position.
Okay. Well, one thing, because you brought up the Talmud as one of the authority books that's held sacred. Let me ask you, isn't it written in the Talmud that Christ is in hell and he's in human excrement in hell in the Talmud? Isn't that written in the Talmud?
Well, I don't have the Talmud in front of me, and obviously I don't remember anything by heart. So it will be very hard for me to approve it. But listen, we don't have. I don't think we have. We don't have an agreement. About between us. I mean, as I said, I am a Jew, but I am a secular person. Definitely, Judaism is my culture. In a way, I'm very proud of it. I think it's a very rich and beautiful culture. However, I do believe that there are definitely certain points and very, very important issue that you raised regarding racism and all this. And the good thing is that today in Israel, there aren't any. The decision are making not only by a religious people, and therefore we can have some hope regarding the way in which things might change.
Well, let me ask you in specific, though, real quick. I'm just one point on the Talmud, then I want to go back.
Okay.
In the Gittin, in the book of the Talmud, in the Gittin, 56b.
In which the Gittin. Okay, yes.
All right. It tells us that Christ is in hell boiling in excrement in the Talmud.
Okay.
And that's there. If I have it in front of me. If you would like to research it, and I have a rabbi who came on and corroborated that. And also in the Talmud, it said that Mary, Christ's mother, was a harlot, or it's a worse word is used in the Talmud. And you're here telling us that that's the authority. I would like to ask one thing. This is part of that. I mean, but you know what's great about the Talmud? What's great about it?
What's great about a Talmud, that a Talmud, in a way, it's a book that to each sentence you can find literally 10 or even more of reaction. The Talmud is a book that different people are discussing. Even as you say, I am not ignoring. If you're saying the sentence is there, the sentence is there. However, we have to take in consideration what was written before the sentence and after the sentence. And the great thing about the Talmud is a book that many people, in a way, important people, are discussing about meaning of things. And in some time they don't agree with each other.
Okay.
So this is, I mean, so in a way, when we look at the Talmud, and especially in the time it was written, so we also have to take in consideration the unique, the advanced way of thinking of this text.
Okay. Well, the reason I ask you is because when I was raised a Christian,
Mm-hmm.
and I was raised in the Baptist church. The majority of us were, in the black neighborhoods.
Right.
We were
Where
never.
was it?
In Philadelphia, but we were never told. We always gave the Jewish community and Jewish people the highest regard, not just because they were Jewish, because
Right.
we could relate Christ. Because we could relate Christ, whom we love, to them,
Mm-hmm.
and to actually find that in one of the respected books, they desecrate the very existence of Christ.
Mm-hmm.
That's controversial in itself. But another thing let me finish my point because I want you to answer all of that, and then I'll be quiet. We also found research and found out that there's a great chance that Christ, not only a great chance, but he was a man of color. He was actually a black man.
Mm-hmm.
And when we found this research, we were perplexed. Why would they demean him? Why would they go against him like this? And then we can only relate this to how they're treating black people now. Can you speak to this?
Well, this is look. First of all, you're absolutely right that Jesus, who, as we all remember, died as a Jew, that his color was. It might be that his color was black, and but I don't think that the fact that this whole story and the fact that many Jews at his time were against him and in a way against his belief and his new idea was because of this color issue. It was because he was in a way presenting new ideas that were different from the idea that were at that time part of Judaism, and it wasn't the first time, it wasn't only the last time that when someone comes with all those ideas that might be provocative, many people against it. And not to mention, so this is also something we have to take in consideration. Another thing that we have to take consideration, you are quote me, and I'm really impressed on the way you are familiar with the Talmud, which is wonderful. However, you do know that there are sources in different Christian books that also we can find very, very unnice and unpleasant arguments against Jews. So I would say I don't think it will be right to use all those kind of arguments. In particular, for many years, indeed, and definitely not in America, but in Europe, and until relatively late, Jews were also a minority. That in a way we can see it as the other, and we do know that the price that the Jews pay but because they were like the other and the religion minority were very, very high. Was very, very high. So I don't think it is right, like to present the interrelationship definitely between Jews and black in a very, very negative tone, and I am not give up on the chance to try to find the mutual things, and to try to find the way that can connect it us instead of increasing separation, difference, and unpleasant reaction. That that can find, well, if I will try to look on different Christian minority books and texts, I definitely also will find a really, really offended reaction against Jews. But I'm preferring not to do it because I don't think it will do good to anyone.
Well, that's why we really thank you for coming on, because to have this discussion, I think it's a positive step going forward. And
I couldn't agree more. Yeah.
Let me ask you this, because we asked this before, and just give me your opinion. I would just like your opinion, your professional opinion on this. What impact would it have on the world if it was founded that the blacks who went into slavery, the North American Indians, and the indigenous people that were taken over by the Western world, what impact if it was publicized and recognized that they were in fact the true biblical Jews, not according to conversion, but according to bloodline and prophecy? What impact do you think that would have on the world? Give me your opinion on that.
Oh, this is a wonderful question, and you know what? It's a question that really need to do a lot of thinking. I wish it could change history, but the bad things about history that we can't. I mean, What do you think that it would change the history and the whole history of African American in America if people would knew that they were the real Jews? That's what you asking me?
No, I'm talking about what would you think the impact would be, not on black people, but on all people.
I think it will. Well, if there is an evident enough thing, I think it really, really had tremendous impact. Definitely.
Give me some examples of what you would think would change if this became reality, and people seeing this just the same way they see Jewish people as Jews today. What would that do? What do you think? Just give me your opinion.
Well,
I'm gonna show you where I'm going.
I mean, maybe I don't know. Maybe it will change the whole way in which the heritage of African American today is it will accept it by the world. Definitely, perhaps people will see it not only as the heritage of African American, but something which considered to be a universalism heritage, that something that belongs to the whole world. Like, I don't know. We talked earlier how the Bible, the beautiful thing that Bible is like the heritage of all the humanity. So maybe this is also what it will be, that African American heritage will be a heritage that every man in the world will be able to relate to it, and it will be a wonderful thing.
Okay, well, thank you for that, because I often ask myself that same question now that I've realized that it's the gauge is pointing more so in that direction. And now that I'm looking at it, just look at the cultural respect that happens just amongst Jewish people when it. I mean, as far as the popularity of brotherhood and a people that, on the surface, as we can see, have some similitude of law, respect, and defense of each other. And then on a parallel sense, you might have another group who've suffered greater atrocities that can't get it together because they don't know that they have that same commitment according to the Torah.
Okay.
You understand, if they knew that there was a law that caused their situation, then that could be the answer. That possibly could be the answer to the ills of the world. It's one thing to say, well, it's organic based on this is the way it is, this is where we grew up, and this is just how it is. It's another thing to say, well, it's another conversation to say, well, listen, maybe your circumstances were foretold. Maybe you're in this condition because you broke a law that you refuse to come back to. What do you think about that? How do you think that would change the world if blacks really knew that they had a rich culture long before slavery, and that there's history that a lot of Jews ran into Africa after the Roman persecution, and a lot of those cultures are still being practiced in the world today, like the Ibu tribe in Africa. I'm not talking about the Ethiopians. Everybody like to go to Ethiopia.
Right. This is another thing. This is another issue, definitely.
Okay,
yes.
Go ahead.
Well, this is a fascinating idea that we will have to think about it. I mean, definitely it will open a new opportunity for cooperation between religions, cooperation between different ethnic groups, between religious groups. Definitely it will, in order to achieve this new cooperation, we will need a lot of openness from different sides, but I just want to remind you two things that regardless of this significant place that religious Jews have in the Jewish people, they are not the only sector in the Jewish people. There are other sectors as well. And maybe we have to think about all this cooperation. And let me just remind you that in the 60s here in America, there was a wonderful cooperation between Jews and African Americans in all this civil rights movement. And this was kind of cooperation that wasn't on a religious basis. It was of a basis of about people who cared each other. Maybe it was a basis about minority who understand each other. So I would say that we will have to keep all options open.
And that's good.
What do you think about that?
I think that this is the beginning.
This is the beginning, absolutely.
It's the beginning. Let me ask you, speaking of that, because I've also done some research. You understand? I'm more so like I'm a statistician. I like to go into stats and see certain things.
Good for you.
Statistics.
I don't know nothing about statistics. Yeah, I'm
a
historian.
All right.
Yes.
And I know one thing I've noticed is that the groundwork had been put in place after World War II on how to restore people after Holocaust, so after demoralization and international on an international platform when they've been destroyed by another country or whatever. And I've seen the resources, the power, the military might, the strength that went into establishing Israel so that no one could destroy or come against them again.
This is something, it is very, very strong notion that exists in Israel. Absolutely. Yes. Yeah.
And I think because of that platform, what do you think about establishing that platform for people who have suffered Holocausts even before World War II and still are experiencing Holocausts, using that same platform to establish people who have suffered even more? I strongly believe that this should be the position. I strongly believe that people who unfortunately suffered and had this experience as Holocaust has obligation to the whole world to guarantee that nothing like this would happen again. You're absolutely right. And exactly.
All I have to, I don't think and this is what, when I'm in Israel, me and other part of the Israeli society are strongly trying to achieve. And I don't know if you know any people from South Sudan or Eritrea or other people who now living in Israel, and I'm sure they can tell you that despite the Israeli government policy, how many good Israeli and good Jews helping them on a daily basis.
But even though that, and I know that. Listen, I don't disrespect any of that.
I mean, people from Israel. I mean, Israeli that like doing a lot of effort, spending a lot of their time, and you know what? Even their money, in order to help all those poor people from South Sudan, Eritrea, or other country who trying to find a way in Israel.
But and that's good. But the issue we have is
and maybe one day.
Let me say this though, because we need to speak of this so that we can put this out there for resolution. There's been a Zionist hand in authority in government that have been that no matter what the population do to try to stop these things, there's a machine in place that you take one step towards right, and they'll move that right 10 steps backwards with their legislation. I'm talking about Zionism. I know a lot of people want. I'm not talking about anti-Semitism. I'm talking about There's some
Zionism is a very big movement because it's a democratic movement. They have inside Zionism, there are many opinions, many attitudes, and, this is the good things about democracy, that we should never stop hoping, and we should never give up the hope that things might change. And I strongly believe that things will change.
Things cannot change. I agree with you that we hope, but things cannot change unless truth unless truth is brought forth. Like the example I can give is how it's a struggle to muddy through all the lies just to get to the truth of oneself. Like it's generational. I go into a church, or I go into a place, and every place I see, and I'm saying this not because I'm racist, because it's the truth. I see a white image of Christ, who I found out his name was Cesare Borgia. He was actually an Italian. And I see our children looking up to these images in the book, and it's not even Christ. When the black children may have looked more like Christ compared to the images they have. So how can we ever... So what I'm saying is, how can we get rid of the perpetual generational ills when the lies and the agenda moves from generation to generation? Shouldn't we first take down the lies and admit the truth, so that the truth can make the people free? Shouldn't that? And this doesn't take any money. It doesn't take any philanthropy. It doesn't take any humanitarian funds. It just takes someone speaking the truth and saying, this is what's going on. This has been the perpetual racism that went from generation to generation. And the same way we're making steps for the atheists are making steps to take the 10 Commandments out of the court and all that, we're going to take steps to take all of racism out of the belief and structure of government and religion. Wouldn't that be a step? All images
will be a tremendous step. Yeah, it can be a very, very important step. I strongly agree with you. Yeah, this is like it's
images,
our obligation.
White, desperate. Images desecrated. No images of Christ being white. No images of any people of any showing any spiritual superiority over another race. And let's start with just truth. We lied to you. We're here to give you the truth, and then you can begin to find your way, because you're not suffering now from the generational ills. So I'm just putting these things out there. Not that they will happen, but at least it's a conversation. If people can talk about taking the Ten Commandments out of the courts and taking the Bible and praying out of schools, why can't we talk about taking the white images out of the churches? But I know a lot of people want to talk to you, so I'm going to be quiet here, and we're going to open up the lines and have them ask you a few questions. And I really thank you for your candor and your respectful conversation this evening.
Okay. Thank you so much. It was very interesting for me. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So, Gaja, you can open up the lines here. All
right, man. Okay. Once again, the numbers to call is 646-200-4309. That is 646-200-4309. My guest in the studio tonight is Dr. Ella Bauer. And the conversation been very interesting thus far. I'm going to go straight to the phone lines. Let me get Brother Lexwell here with a question and a comment.
Hi, shalom.
Shalom. Hi.
Hey, Brother Gaza. Hi, Dr. Bauer.
Hi.
How are we doing? Hey, I wanted to ask you a couple of questions, Doc. Earlier,
who am I speaking with?
My name is Alex. I go by Lex.
Hi, nice to meet you, Alex.
Hey, earlier you came on the show and the topic of the conversion was brought up.
Uh-huh.
And when that was brought up, you repeated over and over again that it was a nice story. And I wanted to know, can you elaborate that on that a little bit? Because later you say you have letters from a king, that backs up a story, and I'm kind of confusing.
There was a time that the story about this group in the
Khazars?
What we know as the Khazars, yes.
Yeah.
What?
Can we identify them as we talk about this? You're not putting the name in there, so it kind of makes it sound like we're just talking about some random people in an area, but we're actually talking about
not at all.
Kingdom.
Yes, we are talking about the king. Yes, definitely. Yeah.
A kingdom.
Right.
So I'm trying to understand.
You see, we are talking about something that really happened even in a way long before the modern period. We're talking about people.
About what time period are we talking about? Because you're saying you're a historian.
The first evidence that we can find about the Khazarim are related to the 9th century.
Okay.
And the first evidence we can hear about, first of all, different publication that different travelers.
Okay, wait. You stated that there was a king.
What I know about also, I know about Jewish travelers. Like there was a famous one that's called Eldad Adani.
Yeah, but that guy was from Africa. He wasn't a Khazarian. See, you're kind of mixing up the stories there to back up a point I don't understand.
And also we know that we have also one of the really, really important person in the Jewish world, Rav Saadia Gaon, mentioned the Khazarians as well. So he is a very, very important guy that we definitely can relate to them. And, of course, we have the famous the Khazarian book of Rabbi Yehuda Levi, that also he was a great philosopher, and he talked about those persons as well.
Excuse me, Doc.
Right. So but probably you're familiar with those.
I'm familiar with Eldad. I'm not familiar with the other two references that you brought up. All right, I'd like to ask you the letter from...
The other reference that I'm talking about are more or less new reference, and they usually were done the kind of even research, kind of research that were done recently, about even, some of even about people that are still, there was one famous, there was a famous
Dr.
Jewish
Bauer?
historian. Yes.
Can I ask
There's
you?
a famous Jewish. Yes.
You had mentioned there was letters, historical letters, from a Khazarian king.
Yes.
Can I ask you the name of the king?
No, because I don't remember. I'm sorry.
I'm looking at a Wikipedia page called Bulan, Bulan, Khazar. Bulan was the Khazarian king who led the conversion of the Khazars to Judaism. His name means elk in Old Turk. In Modern Turk, it means one who finds. So basically, this Wikipedia page is telling me that the Khazars were Turks, but when I click on Kagan, which really has to do with the confusion of who that guy's real name was. It could have been Bulan or it could have been Kagan, but this is the guy that was in charge of the conversion. But when I click on this Kagan, what, very important part. When I click on this, it tells me he's a Mongolian. Says he was a Khan, or one of the first Khans, the title of the imperial rank in the Mongolian and Turkish languages, equal to the status of emperor. So this guy was kind of like the emperor in the center of the world, right?
Okay.
No, I'm asking, because I'm looking at this on paper, and you're the historian.
Yes, I am the historian, but,
I'm not trying to offend you. I'm just confused.
Well, first of all, let's remember that we are talking about a phenomenon that happened. You are referring like part of the Turk, part of this. Those are kind of a category that in the 19th century will not exist. The word the word at that time was different because all kind of national category will not exist.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. You mean their biblical names? Their biblical names were changed to modern names?
Huh?
You mean their biblical names were changed to modern names?
Not only the name were changing, but also, I mean, the whole category that exists today related, I don't know, even regarding national category and all that would not exist at that time.
Right. You mean like calling yourself an Israeli?
Exactly. There wasn't something like that.
With that in mind, can I ask you, what is your nationality?
My nationality is Israeli. But wait.
We just made the claim that
nationality is a new thing. There was no nationality before the 19th century.
So what's biblical?
If you would ask me this question, even in the 18th century, my answer would be different.
So what would be
you're asking a person who lived in the 21st century. So my answer is referring to my reality and my situation in the 21st century or the 20th century.
Okay, so as a historian...
If I was an individual who lived in the 9th century or even the 18th century, and you know what, even the beginning of the 19th century, my answer would be different.
Okay, but being a historian, then you would technically, since we're talking on biblical terms, you would know what I'm talking about. When I look into this Bible...
We're not necessarily talking also about biblical terms. We are talking about terms that exist before modern time, and this changed everything.
It says on the coast in, Zephaniah, chapter 2, verse 7 and 8, and on the coast shall be for the remnant of the house of the Judah, which is from the bloodline of Jews. They shall feed thereupon in the houses of Ashkelon. They shall lay down. Ashkelon shall lie down in the evening, for the Lord their God shall visit them and turn away their captivity. I have heard the reproach of Moab and the revilings of the children of Ammon, whereby they have reproached my people and magnified themselves against their border. This Bible, this ancient scripture says that in the borders of Judea, where the Jews should be living, where the bloodline of the Jews should be living, that Moabites and Ammonites live there now. Today, people call themselves Israelis. I'm under the impression that Moabites and Ammonites make up the Israelis. Are you of one of those bloodlines?
Actually, I don't know. I mean, you ask me to refer, you want me to I am a person, and as I said before, I am not defining myself as a religion person, and you want me to adapt kind of biblical definition to my life, which is not relevant. I'm sorry. It's not relevant.
I'm sorry. What exactly is your subject of history?
My subject of history, I am Eastern European. I'm research Eastern European Jewry.
Eastern European Jewry. So you deal with the Ashkenaz Jews, right?
Yes.
So when you go to the history of Ashkenaz Jews, it says that they are from the Rhine. See, the Jews.
No, they're not. No, they're not on.
Well,
not
I'm confused
necessarily.
because the encyclopedia tells me one thing, and you're saying no, that's wrong.
Well, who wrote? I mean, so
well,
don't
the Europeans
ask me.
did.
Don't ask me. Ask the encyclopedia.
But
if you want to ask me, ask
propagate
me.
what they say.
See. Hey, hold on. Let me come in, brother Lex.
Yes, sir.
I see the lines here blowing up, man. I'm gonna have to probably bring you back in maybe later in the next segment, all right? But
Thank you very much, Doctor. I'm sorry if it sounded hostile. I appreciate you very much.
No, it's not sounded hostile at all. I mean, I just don't understand what you're getting to. So I'm sorry. Yeah.
Well, I gotta go.
Because
but
maybe I don't know. Maybe it's kind of a language gap or something. I don't know. Okay.
When you say yes, it is. When you say Jew, I think bloodline because that's where the word came from.
Okay.
It's the matrix of the word. You see, and it sounds like you're using it politically. Now that's just confusing to me. That's all.
Okay.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, that's brother Lexwell there, but hit one for me, bro, and I'll bring you back in for the second segment of the show. Okay, thank you. All right, man. Once again, the number to call 646-200-4309, and go ahead, hit 1 if you have a question or a comment, and we'll be with you momentarily. All right, I'm gonna go to the next caller. We have brother Greg with a comment. Shalom.
Shalom,
hello.
Elder Gazi.
Shalom.
Shalom, brother. How are you?
Shalom, I'm good. If Elder Ricard is listening, shalom to you, Elder. Okay, good evening to you, Doctor. Now, I have a two questions.
Good evening.
Okay, now, about Jewish people, is it Jewish people's beliefs in the Talmud that led to them enslaving Negro ancestors and their primal role in the destruction of the Native Americans?
Can you repeat your question again? It wasn't that clear.
Is it Jewish people having a faith in the Talmud and following its teachings? Did that lead them to play a primal role in the enslavement of the Negroes and the destruction of the Native Americans?
No, not at all. Not at all. Not at all. What I wanted to point out
because I have two books before me here. One is The Secret Relationship Between Blacks and Jews, Volume 1, by J and L.T. Levin. It's a book by the Nation of Islam, but I do not subscribe to their teachings in no way. And I have another book before me, which is From Babylon to Timbuktu by Rudolph R. Windsor.
I'm not familiar with this book. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Or I'll give you a brief explanation. The Secret Relationship Between Blacks and Jews is a historical book on the financial role that Jewish people played in the enslavement of the Negroes. From Babylon to Timbuktu is historical records on the Negroes before they were enslaved by the Western world, or financially Jewish people, because I have proof of financial records that they were the ones who put my ancestors on boats. So if it wasn't their belief in the Talmud to let them play such a brutal role in recent history, can you answer the question on what would lead to people to enslave a whole other race of people to make millions today?
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So let me just. Well, this is a really very fascinating new evidence for me, which I'm not familiar with. But from what I know, even though there were Jews who involved in this whole slavery, terrible and tragedy, they did it not because of Jewish belief, because they were probably people or capitalists or something like this who want to earn money. And as we know, there were also other at this terrible
I
time.
don't quite understand that because according to this book, the entrepreneurs, these were, yes, Jewish people who left Europe from expulsions, but these people were already financially set. So for these people to come already have millions to look to make more by enslaving another race, I can't completely understand that. And if that doesn't have anything to do with their faith in the Talmud, and the Talmud says that Christ himself was boiling in hot excrement, I really can't understand that.
Why? So only Jews were involved in? First of all, who said that they are religious people with they believe that strongly that would like practice Judaism so hard? And were there the only
I understand.
Was any Christian involved in this tragedy?
That leads me to another role. I asked Christians this question about Christians, the role they played in the slave trade. I addressed that to them. But you already addressed that. You said you're a scholar who studies up on Judaism, European Jewry. So that's why I'm asking you these questions along these lines, because they were the culprits behind this atrocity. So if you have a doctorate on these recent studies, you said it should be us coming to you about this information. Those are your own words, correct?
If you say so.
But you said you studied Judaism. From Babylon to Timbuktu, I can pull this excerpt out later, but I can prove that some of the Negroes, so-called, that Jewish people, European Jews enslaved, were Hebrews by blood. And I understand that you're pro-Zionism and supporting Jews. So if I can prove through recent history and evident history that my people are Jews, and it says in here in the Torah, in Deuteronomy chapter 15, that you're supposed to release a Hebrew after 7 years of bondage, or not even bondage, slavery or servitude. Why didn't Jewish people do that for my ancestors, if I can prove that we're Jews too? Then that's entertaining the idea that your people are Jews, because I can prove that I can. But Jewish people, if they can prove that through history, I'll be able to understand and we can get on one accord. But if you can't prove that you're a Jew through the Torah's own prophecy and history itself, then I'm sorry that I can't believe that. That just makes it an errant statement.
You're a free person and you can live whatever you want, but let me let me see if I understand. So you blame the Jews to
Let me read you one excerpt.
Let
me read you one excerpt, please. I'll give you the reason for my opinion, please. Let me read this tiny excerpt. This is The Sacred Relationship Between Blacks and Jews, page 16. On a gold hunt of such intensity that the natives came to believe that the white men suffered from some case of disease curable only by the limitless application of this metal, speaking of the gold rush. Columbus discovered that, apart from some poor alluvial deposits, the gold simply did not exist. He foresaw harmless Indian aborigines into slavery. The entire importation of gold from the New World for the first 20 years after 1492 represented in cash only about $300,000 a year, and then the total then recovered worth about $5 million, cost at least 500,000 Indian lives. So Chris Columbus, it said the page before, was funded by rich Jewish people to come to the Americas and to enslave the natives and to destroy them to make them dig up gold. But the natives is easy to prove that, since you're pro-Zion, that these people are Hebrews too. In Los Lunas, New Mexico, if you want to Google this for yourself, the natives have the Ten Commandments here written in their original Hebrew, the Phoenician Hebrew. So if these people have the Hebrew written here, the Aztecs, we know, have the pyramids built down in Egypt, which Jewish people supposedly built in Egypt. So if the natives and the Aztecs have the Hebrew here and the pyramids, which saying your ancestors built in Egypt, how come Columbus didn't have no compassion on these people? And how come that their evil that they did to have nothing to do with the Talmud, when the Talmud itself, and I'll make this point again, says that Christ himself is boiling in a pot of excrement. A man who gave up himself for a whole nation of people and the world, and they're saying he's boiling our excrement, and that belief don't have nothing that has no correlation with them enslaving my ancestors and the natives. That was my question from the beginning, but I'm still waiting for an answer.
I mean, I'm sorry, but I really, I don't think that I have. I need to defend people who did a mistake, and not necessarily, and certainly they are not the only people who are involved in this tragedy. Okay. What about the people? What about the people? What about the African people? Yes, but what about the African?
Exactly.
Listen,
I asked those people those questions.
I
are an African,
patient.
so I'm not going to ask you about information on the role the Africans played in the slavery when you're not one. I'm asking you about the Jewish role that they played in the slave trade and destruction of the natives financially. So I'm asking you about that. If I want to ask an African how his people pertain to my people's destruction, yes, I know. Thank you for telling me to ask him. But I'm asking you for answers on why millions of natives got killed down in the Holocaust and got destroyed down to very few man-child.
Brother Greg.
Okay, I think I don't want to relate to this, and I think I have the full right not to relate to those kind of things. I'm sorry.
Dr. Bauer.
I think it is.
Dr. Bauer.
I think it's out of line.
Okay, no problem.
Well, I would like to put this out there for everyone that call in. I mean, she's been more than a respectful guest, and I think she's bearing the brunt of some level of hostility based on some of the other guests who come on and denied the truth. Not once have I heard this doctor come on and deny anything that was true. I like to appeal to the callers to not disrespect and not try to browbeat her based on some other guests who came in. She doesn't represent them. She represents what she brought forth this evening. So I would like to say that, and the calls going forward, that like if she admits what's going on and she's looking to do things as far as bring forth some understanding that can help, then she'd be more than willing to do that, and that's why she came on this evening. So I would like those in here, and we apologize to you because it wasn't your fault. It's others who've come on and denied the truth, and I think you're bearing the brunt of that because they weren't able to call into some prior shows. So even though some of the history these brothers are bringing forth and some of the study is some positive information, but I don't think that she should be attacked in this manner, and I'm putting that out there.
Okay.
All right.
Dr. Bauer, are you there? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Thank you for those things. Yes, you said yes.
Okay, we had some feedback from your side. All right, what we're gonna do? We're gonna keep the calls down to 2 minutes, question and comment. All right, because I see the lines blowing up, and I would want everyone to have a say tonight before the show goes out. All right, I'm gonna bring in Elder Gabar from New York. I think he wants to join in. Let me see, Elder Gabar, can you hear me?
Hey, shalom, brothers. How we doing?
We're doing well, man. Yourself?
Good, pretty good. Enjoying the show. Shalom. And good evening, doctor. How we doing,
Good
sister?
evening.
Good evening.
How are you?
Pretty good. You know, I personally follow the Israel or Israeli politics, you know, very closely. And it's almost I'm obsessed with it to some degree.
Wow. Why? Why?
And in my understanding, and you mentioned something earlier, that the religious sector of the country is controlled by a small group of the Orthodox Jewish.
I didn't say small, but no, they're not small. I mean, what I meant that there are other besides the Orthodox and the ultra Orthodox, which are, by the way, are small group. It's small group, yes.
Well, right. Can you, and maybe you could educate me or correct me, my understanding that the Orthodox section, you know, the Orthodox Jewish population in Israel is about 10 to 20%, if I'm correct? in that assessment?
I don't have the right number in front of me, but this is the number is the number is more yes. Let me check it. I mean, I will see it in a minute. Yes, but it's around the 12%. The
12.
The
Okay.
Orthodox. Yes.
Okay. Now, and how, in your opinion, that a small group in regards of who comes in the country, who does not, who is a Jew, who is not, is controlled from that small group when you have the 90 or 89% are, for the most part, a democratic, secular society. How cool, how can those two work?
Okay, so this is question that the reason to them is quite complicated, and actually they're going back to the formation years of Israel. This is a great question, by the way, and it's very important. And I will need more than this is something that I will need like a lecture, but I will try to do it in a very, very short way. We have to, first of all, what we do, we have to distinguish between two things. First of all, the who decide who is a Jew, and the other thing, who decide who is eligible to be Israeli citizen. And this is, by the way, two different things.
Okay, so there's two kind of...
The decision who will become a citizen is a decision that defined by a law. It's called the law of return. It's something that had been decided about in the beginning of the 50s.
Okay.
And it's in this is that someone who can be Israeli citizen is not only like 100% Jew, but also people that have some family origin. For instance, only if you had a Jewish grandfather, it's enough in order to become Israeli citizen, and there are other categories as well. The other thing is who is like considered to be a Jewish according to the Orthodox, and why a small group decided for the majority. This is also a question. This is more like a question that is had been decided about it from political reason. And you are, if you define yourself as obsessed with Israeli politicians, so you know a lot about Israeli politicians, meaning that in order to establish a government in Israel, you need a coalition, you need the support of the Orthodox, and that's why, even though they are small, they are a very, very important group, and over the whole Israeli government, they were always part of Israeli government. And this is why they always were the one who had the power to decide about those questions. So this is also, it's not a question of religion reason or as you said, it is something that is part of Israeli, its part is driven from the problematic structure of Israeli politician that is part of the Israeli history, I would say.
Do you agree, thank you for the answer, do you agree that there should be a discussion on widening the table, to widen the door on who, in regards to how someone becomes a citizen? Because what I'm looking at is that it is a policy that is more tailor-made for the European people they are claiming to be Jews, much than money else. Let me try to explain. From your understanding, is not only there's two ways you become a citizen. If you could prove that your family, you have family history,
in your family,
was Jewish, although you may not practice Judaism, but if you could prove that you have a long history of Judaism, then you could be an atheist, you could be a Catholic, you could be whatever. You could say,
but if your grandfather was a Jew, then you are, for instance, we can say it very clear. If you are part of Jewry history, you lived in former USSR, and your grandfather was a Jew, and you decided that you want to live Russian and immigrate to Israel, you can be an Israeli citizen even though you are not a Jew. This is
Right.
the exact.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good example. If you could prove that you lived in Russia, or your grandfather or grandfather lived in Russia,
or I
and
don't know,
you
you have some
right.
you have some family documents
Yeah,
that
or some
show
form of,
that your
right,
grandfather
exactly.
was I don't know,
I would-
Blackberry in a Jewish wedding and all this. That's enough.
Yeah, I'm with
that's right.
you. I'm with you. I agree. I get it and understand. The question is, and you mentioned Russia. That's a geographical place. Isn't you think it's fair that should also apply with people in Africa like the Lumber tribe, the Igbo tribe? Because if you have someone who's the Igbo tribe, you say, yes, my grandfather has been keeping Hebrew traditions from generation to generation to generation. Should that also apply not only for the people that came from Russia, but also the people that came from other places that could also prove that their families have been keeping Hebrew tradition, not made perhaps like the Orthodox, because you mentioned that the Orthodox
but
also
you know that
embrace. Let me finish my thought. Embraces the Talmud, and not all Judaism, sect of Judaism embrace the Talmud. Like you even have certain European Jews that are considered Karaite Jews. Are you know about them? The Karaite Jews, they only.
Yes, I know. Yeah, yes, of course,
yeah.
of course.
So what I'm saying is,
by the way, they're not considered to be a Jews. By the way,
exactly. What I'm saying, who made the Orthodox Jewish the authority? All I'm saying, we should open the door. It should not be one person to determine. You're a good Jew. You're not a good Jew. You don't follow the Torah correctly. You'll follow the Torah correctly. You come in. You get out. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm saying,
I perfectly understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
I perfectly understand what I'm saying. I'm perfectly aware to the problematic of this issue. Even it's funny because yesterday at my class at UC Davis about modern Israel, we were talking about Jews from Ethiopia, and I raised those questions. And this is a very, very complicated question. And it's also referred to this, who would decide what is like the meaning of practice Judaism, I mean the right way to practice Judaism. So it's but I think I said it before in this show again, there are some circumstances that are taken in consideration. I mean, if you can prove some kind of, I don't know, as you said, you pointed very well, like kind of not a Jewish tradition, but Hebrew tradition. So some the Israeli Authority might take it in consideration, but I would say that it's something that people not really finalize the discussion about it.
Well,
Let me just, I want to interject
and
one thing.
And you know what, maybe I will be very open you. Maybe you're right. And maybe there's a difference between the way in which Israel treats two Jews who are coming from Europe and Jews who are coming from Africa differently.
We already agreed on that, but this is one point I wanted to interject since
right.
he jogged something real quick. Wouldn't there be confusion until we just first start with the people according to who they are, bloodline first? Wouldn't that destroy all this debate if we just went into the prophecies and into the archaeology and history and prove who the people were, opposed to the conversion? Wouldn't that be a beginning, opposed to looking at the people who converted from Europe?
I think. I mean, I'm not sure that can be a relevant category that we can use this.
Yeah, that's the only
we can take it in consideration, but I don't think it could be the.
Listen. I'm going to give you an example. Listen, I'm going to give you an example. If there's a Chinese person that's Chinese.
Yeah. That's something that you said before. Yeah, right.
I'm going to go back to that again. They don't need no one to authenticate that they're Chinese.
Right.
Chinese people look a certain type of way. They have a certain type of culture. They deal with their laws specifically, and there's people in the earth that fit the description of the people we read in Scripture. all over the earth. And
yes, but this is I would say there are some difference. This is why the things about Judaism, which is different from many other things, because Judaism is also a religion, but it's not only a religion. It's also a nationality. It's also ethnic group. You know, it's even also culture. So it's many things. And
see, but that's the issue.
Chinese,
you cannot make someone
Chinese. You don't treat to Chinese as a religion category. You treat them
but that's
as
the difference. You
category.
cannot make someone's bloodline a religion. That's the issue. Jacob was a man.
Yes, but exactly. But when you're talking about Judaism, you are talking about all the above. You're talking about also.
Listen. We're not talking about Judaism. Judaism is a religion. The Hebrews,
a religion. But not only a religion.
It's only a religion. The children of Israel wasn't studying Judaism. The children of Israel were Israelites. Judaism
so this
became
is something
a
that we are not agree on. No. Judaism is not only a religion. This is something that is strongly against.
And I interject, brother and doctor. I think that exactly is the point. Is that every single point of view in defining whether the religion, whether the race, whether to identify the race is only presented from the European point of view. So I will want you to appreciate and understand from people that have been downtrodden and discriminated like the black and brown and indigenous people of the world. That we are feeling that this is history repeating itself again. White people setting the trend on what is this or what is the religion, and us black and brown people have to basically follow along. Like I want to give you an example. There is a movement in trying to convert the Igbo tribe because there's been many evidence in Africa that shows that the Igbo have a long historical connection to the land of Israel.
Okay.
The Igbo are saying, why do you want us to convert to Judaism and accept the Talmud? We don't accept the Talmud.
I see.
So the question is,
like the Quran. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So exactly. So what I'm saying is the problem is I need to understand is that you're saying that Judaism is a religion and is a race. What we are saying is you have to identify and appreciate it. That's the point of view from Europeans. Not everybody sees the world the way Europeans see it, and especially.
Okay.
Okay, so you have to broaden your horizons a little bit and look at other people's points of view, because we could read as well as Europeans. We could go to the same university. We could analyze as well, and we realize that Judah comes from the word or the son of Judah, the fourth sons of Jacob. And we look at the Torah, and we said there was no word for Judaism. God gave the Israelites commandments to follow. Now, you had certain Israelites, like in the time of Roman, they picked up the Greco-Roman culture, and they became Hellenized. Now, that they did not become Greek. They became Jews. They picked up Greek culture. So and I think the problem is language and understanding language. And what I want for the European world Jewry to understand is that not everybody has the same language as you view the world and everything Jewish or everything Hebrew.
Right. Look, you have a very, very important point by saying that we, most of us, like adapting the European point of view of the world, and we have to be more open about a new way of thinking of way. With this argument, I strongly agree, and I admit this is also something that I have to know better, and to study more this issue, because I admit I'm part of the people who I'm looking about things only from a European point of view. So definitely this is something that I will have to take in consideration as well. So I really appreciate it for pointing this.
Thank you. Thank you for
this argument, and it's very important. Yes, it's absolutely right.
Thank you so much. Enjoy the show, Elder Ricardo and Brother Gocc.
Okay. Thanks.
I'll put you back in the queue, okay?
Bless you. Hey, Gafar. Hey, Gafar.
Yes.
Okay, bless brother. So I just wanted to say I wanted to make all the holy days and things were sent to you, so y'all all had that. So I'll talk to you later about it.
Yes, thank you so much. Yes, I got your message. The water.
Okay. All right. Shalom.
Yeah, man. Dr. Bauer, let me ask you, right?
Yes.
If we were to give you the information, okay?
Can you repeat it? I didn't hear you well.
Can you hear me now? Am I coming in clearly?
Yeah. Now it's fine. Yes.
Okay.
Please.
If we were to send you all the information and research that we have, right?
Right.
In regards to Jews outside of Europe, right? And you were to see it and check it out, would you bring it forward? Would you teach it in your universities, in your lectures?
Well, I as I said, I'm open to see. I would love to see it. One of the great things about being a scholar is about being open to learn new things and be open to new theory. So definitely I would like to see this and study it more and understand the meaning of it. And definitely if it will integrate it well and can contribute it to my lecture and everything, of course I would love to use it.
And if you found it to be true also, what then? Would you?
Huh?
And once you have been given this information, and it's not just a theory, it's
right.
It is true. It is true
right.
historically. It is
yeah,
true.
I mean, I first of all, I have to study it. I mean, I have to understand the sources. I want to see the documents and everything.
Definitely. But what if when you find out after you have seen it, the documents and everything, you find it to be true? Okay.
So definitely, I will use it. I would love to. I mean, I have no problem to adapt and to use and to know new theory. You know what I'm saying? I just, wanted to have the time to study it, to observe it, and definitely it's something
I'll tell you what, Doctor. We here, what we're gonna do at the church, we're gonna work with you on this, right? We're gonna give you all the information, okay?
Wonderful. Okay.
And we can be in dialogue on it as well. All right.
Okay.
And because we are pretty much convinced and sure that the information here is accurate and will hold water anywhere. You understand me? It's not we have the historical evidence, the biblical evidence, and like I was saying, we can go into the genetic research also.
I know. The genetic research I'm a little bit familiar with. Yeah, okay. Right. But I would love to have more, yeah.
And we can definitely prove this. Prove it to be true. So, like I'm saying, we would want you as a doctor to put it out.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, I would love to read it. It sounds very interesting. And, we'll take it from there. Absolutely.
All right, man. Sounds good. I'm going to open up the phone lines again. Brothers and sisters, I'm going to ask if you could keep the calls to the questions and comments to say 2 minutes so we can get through as many callers as possible. If you have a question or a comment for the doctor, hit 1 and someone will take your call momentarily. And, we can go on with it. And once again, doctor, I must say that it's been really good having you on the show. And I'm glad that
I really enjoy being part of the show. I think you raised very, very important and significant issue, and I'm definitely waiting to continue with this kind of a dialogue. This is a very important dialogue, and it should be continued.
Well, the thing is, right, that we have had previous historians come on the show. You understand, on this platform, and they have all they have done is a lie. You understand me? And before we could even get to opening the calls, they would run off. You understand me? As if the information that we're bringing, is not even worth having even having a look at it. So like I said,
Right.
I appreciate you staying here, and I appreciate you, taking the calls and, hearing
Okay.
what's being
Yes.
said. So with that, I'm gonna open the lines again. I'm gonna go to Daryl with a question and a comment.
Okay. Thanks.
Hello.
Shalom.
Shalom.
Shalom, brother. Yes, hello. Shalom, Brother Gaja, Elder Ricard. I have a question and a comment. I've been listening to you guys this evening, and it's quite interesting. And first, I want to thank you for being very honest and very open with your approach. It's, as the brothers said this evening, there's not many people that come on the show that actually do that. They run off. They're very angry in their approach, but you were very forthcoming and you were very open. But let me make it really quick. There was a debate tonight based on difference in opinions, and one of the main things that I've noticed is when we talk biblically and when we talk based on biblical text, and we also talk on other historical texts. You mentioned the Talmud earlier. We speak on the Bible. The reason why there's a lot of dissension between the different ethnic groups and also disseminating who the children of Israel are is because the Bible is a very real book and it's a very prophetic book. And me, I'm from the tribe of I'm a African American. I'm a black man. I'm an African American man, and the things that I have experienced in my life, a European man will never be able to experience. He'll never be able to speak on it. Things a European man deals with, he'll never be able to speak on. I'll never be able to speak on because we come from two completely, totally different worlds. And on top of that, we relate to things differently. Prophecy in the Bible relates to a particular people, okay?
Right.
And those people that deal with those curses can relate completely to the Bible. Other people will not be able to relate because they cannot identify with those curses. So it would be hard for me to speak to a European man and claim that I'm from a particular tribe of anything, because if he were to pick up the Bible or he were to pick up that book, he couldn't relate. Now, if I picked up, let's for instance say the Talmud, right, the Babylonian Talmud, and I read in the Babylonian Talmud where it says, okay, it's okay to sleep with underage girls, it's okay to kill someone. This is information that's documented in an original Talmud. For a person to actually be able to sit there, read that, and actually make some sense of that, it would tell me something that person cannot possibly then turn around and say he comes from a tribe of Judah or a biblical righteous tribe that at one point were obeying the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High, because it would be a complete oxymoron or a contradiction. So you would have to be able to somewhat relate to those ideologies or those beliefs in order to actually embrace that book, the Talmud. And I, being a black man, would never be able to embrace that because it's not in my spirit to. Okay, so when we have to be careful when we speak. Listening to you, I appreciate you. I've been following the Gathering of Christ Church for quite a long time, and I appreciate those brothers and their work. And I know what those brothers are saying is very true. Why? Because when I relate it to my struggle, when I relate it to biblical prophecy and history, it matches and it relates identically. But maybe you, coming from a European background, you may not be able to readily identify with everything because it does not pertain to you. Okay, so I have to honestly respect where you're coming from based on your journey and your historical background, because your lineage, your family, your mother's father's father comes from a particular history, which is different from my history. So the only way I could be able to put these two things together would be to go back into history and see where I relate historically. Right? And then I will be able to match it and say, okay, that fits who I am, because history will tell you if you go into it where you come from, as long as you can identify with the events, because those things help out tremendously us to be able to not only bridge this gap of all of this confusion, because to some degree it can be a level of confusion because as I said, we all come from different historical backgrounds and different things pertain to different people. When Christ was speaking, he was speaking to a particular group of people. So if someone that's Chinese or if someone that's from, the Khazarian Empire, which was that Asia Minor Turkish Empire, if they were to read what Christ was speaking of, they may not be able to relate to that because though they are not the people of that historical background. So I wouldn't even argue with those people because they can't relate. Everything in life is relative. So as a black man, I can relate to the struggle that I go through here in America. And when I read the Bible, I can understand that struggle is something my forefathers went through. So it's the same thing. There's nothing new under the sun. Whereas other races and ethnicities have never had to deal with that because it's not part of their historical background. It's not part of their history. They're not doomed to repeat that. And that's all I wanted to say. I just think that there's a big gap. There are groups of people that know well-heartedly the evil that they're doing. There is a government, there is an agenda here, and there are a group of people, the same people Christ spoke against. And if you don't understand who those people are, then that can be a level of confusion as well. So it's a very, very deep thing. But I just wanted to put that out there to say that, it's a very deep thing. And if we don't understand the historical differences between ethnicities and groups, then we'll never be able to figure out exactly who's who and what pertains to who, biblically, whether it be in the Talmud or the Bible, because those books were inspired by two totally different spirits, and they pertain to different groups of people. And that's all I wanted to say.
No, this is very important. This is very important remark, and thank you for putting it. And yes, we are coming from a different world, and each word has its own origin, own sources, own cultural sources. But the thing that we have to remember is like that we have to keep openness and to understand and respect. Even if we can't understand, we definitely have to respect the word of the other. So yeah, this was a very important remark, and thank you for sharing it with us.
Yes, man. Thank you, Brother Darrell, for that. Could you push one for me, please? And I will push you back in the queue. And Elder Rakar, you there?
Yes, I'm there. I have a question real quick. Let me ask you a question. Let me get your name again so I can look her up real quick.
My name?
Yeah, I need your name again. Doctor. Yes.
My name is Ella Bauer, Dr. Ella Bauer.
Okay, thank you. Others are probably listening and want to know too. They probably came in a little late.
Right.
Real quick, I need to ask you a question. Christ made two statements, and I want you to tell me, with your opinion, if Christ made these statements today, who would he be talking about? He made a statement in Revelations. He made a statement in Revelations 2:9 in the churches. It says, I know thy works in tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich. Speaking to those that were in the church. And we know that you agreed that those Jews, originally in Acts the 13th chapter, was called Niger. They were black people. He says, and then he came back and says, I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. If those statements was made today by Christ, he would probably be hung again. But I need you to say, if he made these statements today, who do you think that would be pertaining to if he made that statement?
Well, it's very hard for me, to refer to this. I have to read it, read and think about it. This is something that I really, really don't, react without deep thinking, because this is what we need. But I'm not sure that it will be right to put something that was, say, 1,000 years ago in our time, because so many change from early period.
I know it changed, but I'm saying, but if that statement was made,
but maybe this statement would not stay today, because so many the reality that we're facing today is so different from the reality that was back then.
Okay.
So this statement might be not relevant to the people. So he would not say it anymore. He would say
I have
a
another
new
question
statement.
too. I have one more for you, because do you know that there was a conversion before the Khazarian Empire of Europeans?
Do I know what?
Do you know that there was a Jewish conversion before the Khazarian Empire? Europeans converting into Judaism before the Khazarian Empire. During the time of Antiochus Epiphanes, up to Herod. When they killed the Jews in the temple, the priests, during the time of Antiochus Epiphanes, to put Gentiles in, and it led to the Herodian dynasty. Herod was an Idumean or Edomite. He wasn't even a Jew. He married a Jew woman. Herod was a Roman, Idumean, Greek.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is, if you understand, and I know you do understand history, biblical history, that when Christ was brought to the tribunal or to court to be judged, he was judged with a Roman crucifixion.
Right.
Even though he was they rallied up a campaign against him amongst his people, he was tried in Roman court.
Right. This is, and he was crucified by the Roman, not by the Jews.
Exactly. So now I'm going to tell you. Now we're getting somewhere, because I have the history, and this is what's going to be sent to you. Germany, Rome, Italy, Russia, all these, Switzerland, Belgium, all these European countries were originally part of the 10 Horns or the Roman Empire, which you know.
Right. Yes.
And you also know that Khazar is another word for Caesar or Caesar.
Right.
And you also you also know that the British family is German, and they also are
the British family and all the others as well. Yes.
And they're also from the Caesars or the Roman bloodline. So we're going to keep it there, because we know, based on history, that the Romans now identify themselves as Jews. And I'm going to send you the history. And it's nothing wrong.
It sounds fascinating. Yeah, it sounds fascinating. Yes.
Yeah. So I'm going to leave it there, because I'm sure there's some places in history we both can relate that can tie the understanding. All right?
Right, definitely. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Well, that will take some open the call some more. We're down to the last 18 minutes of the live show. You need to call in if you want to continue listening. Call in 646-200-4309 if you want to continue with us in the overtime. If you have not called in, you're gonna be disconnected at the end of this 18 minutes. I think we'll be opening up Ustream, so you can continue with us at Ustream if you get disconnected after the 18 minutes, or you are unable to get into the call queue, because the call queue it is at capacity, or getting to capacity as I'm looking at it right now. Okay, so if you can't make it there, just head over to the Ustream, and we'll be there, and that'll be in the next 18 minutes. So you have 18 minutes either to call in or head over to Ustream. Okay, and with that, let me go back to the call line. I got Ivan with 2 questions. Okay.
Shalom, brothers.
Shalom,
brothers. I just have 2 simple questions for the doctor based on what I was hearing from her. And the first question is that all through the Bible, I've been searching and comparing your people in Israel today. I just want to know, can you just tell me 1 or 2 prophecies you guys fulfill in the scripture, because I haven't come across none of them yet. And for me, I know where my people came from, and by the last quarter, based on that, African wasn't selling African into slavery. I was born West Africa. It was the Ishmaelite and the Hamitic was selling my people into slavery. Just to verify that, but I just want to know my first question. Where in Bible prophecy your people have fulfilled throughout history from before Christ even came on the face of this earth?
I'm not sure that I'm the right person to answer this, because, as I said, I am an historian, but I'm dealing with modern history, and the Bible is part of my culture and everything, but it's not really. It's not something that I can read it that often, and I don't think I can answer.
You have to get in a rabbi, maybe somebody from the rabbinical order, to probably answer for brother Ivan. Okay. All right.
Yes.
Let me go to the next caller. Brother Ivan, could you hit one for me, please? As a matter of fact, one sec. Said you had two questions here, but let me see. I think you just gave one. Sorry, Brother Ivan. You have a second question.
My next question was just this. You guys put the Talmud before the Holy Scripture, and you claim you're from the seed of Christ, our Savior. But how can you put the words that Christ gave us the Father second to the Talmud that have nothing to do with Christ? That's what I don't understand. If you're upholding the Talmud before the Holy Scriptures.
Once again, brother, that's so. I think that question would have to pose that to a rabbi,
Yes.
someone who
Yeah.
deals.
You know, and
all right, Brother Ivan.
And let me just point it out that there are different ways to learn the Talmud, not only as halachic or as a religion sources, but also as a cultural sources and historical sources. So really, this is something. Definitely, you're right. This is a dialogue that we should do with the rabbi or some religious authority, not with me. Sorry.
Okay, all right, my brother Ivan. Could you hit one for me, please? Let me go to the next caller.
Okay.
We have Daryl with a comment.
Shalom, Elder. Shalom.
Hi. Shalom.
I had a question. So you said that the Khazarian Empire started in the 9th century?
No, the 9th century probably that where was the conversion to Judaism.
Was in the 9th century?
Yes, probably. That's what.
Okay.
Well,
and what I want to ask is how, if history shows that in Spain, France, England, and Germany, before that there was even any Caucasian people there, that there was black people there before the Caucasian people even were in those parts of the land.
Even in Europe?
Yeah, if you look up the Moorish people, that was the the nobility of that part of the world were actually black people.
Okay. When was it?
So right around the 14th century.
Okay. And we know it from
history. If you look at all the coat of the arms and the names of the people that the coat of the arms come from are all black people's family names. They're all Moorish people from like Habsburg, Butler, are all names of coat of arms that are seen in nobility today that are all come from people who were black that were in the land before the Caucasian people were even there.
Okay.
And the Bible tells us that the Caucasian people, which were red or are red, had no land from, given them.
Yeah. Right.
So it shows us that they were, that's how we get Caucasian. Yeah.
I don't want to cut you, but I want to get some more callers in.
Okay.
Any closing?
Thank you.
And let me get another call in. No, is that it? All right, man. Thank you. Shalom.
Thank you.
Okay, let me go to the next. Oh, sorry. One sec. Excuse me, brother. Yes, go ahead. Sorry. Hello.
Shalom.
Yeah, sorry.
Hello. Yes, shalom.
Hit one for me, okay? When I put you back in the queue. So okay. Yes, brother. Hit one for me, and let me go to the next caller. We have Mike with a comment. Mike is from the 954 area.
Yeah, sure. You hear me?
Yes, I'm hearing you clearly. Go ahead. 2 minutes. Question.
2 minutes. All right, excellent. Shalom, Doctor. I guess the question I have is based on the Talmud. Again, it teaches like black people are from the seed of Ham. It'd be safe to say that they suffered like the curse of Ham.
The what?
That black people suffer the curse of Ham and they're the actual seed of Ham, based on the Talmud teachings.
Well, again, I mean, since I don't know all the Talmud by heart, so it's hard for me to refer to this kind of one sentence or one argument.
Oh, okay.
I have to go over again the sources, and honestly, I didn't do it for a long time, so it will be hard for me to refer to the story.
I guess it kind of leads to this particular point because I guess in the teachings
it's the great things about kind of those Talmud and other literary documentary that there are so many. It's so rich, so many arguments and everything. So you can find anything you want there. So that's a good thing. And then anyway, that's the bad thing about it.
The point I was going to actually make is that based on the Talmudic teaching of black people suffering the curse of Ham, having black skin, that would basically lead to the point of like the ancient Egyptians being black people, and if ancient Egyptians being black people are the children of Ham, then I guess based on the discussion tonight, then that would lead that there was at some point in time in history that black people actually enslaved white people because of the children of Israel today.
Okay. But as we heard before, even the sons of Israel back then, I'm not sure they were white people. So perhaps it was like black people and slave black people. So those kind of things.
And naturally the hieroglyphics and stuff like that would depict black on black slavery. I mean, you look at the hieroglyphics, you're seeing black on black slavery. Yes.
Not gonna cut you, but we want to move it on. So we're down to 9 minutes of the live shows. Okay. So
I appreciate it.
All right, well, no problem. Let's just hit one from me back and head back to the queue.
Okay.
All right. And once again, for the callers, we're calling in Dr. Ella Bauer. Okay. And I'm just gonna read something. I'm just gonna read this about you real quick, Dr. Bauer. It says, Dr. Bauer teaches Jewish in the Jewish History Department at the Haifa University in the academic and is the academic coordinator of the Poisson Research Forum for Jewish, European, and Israeli political thought at the Haifa University Faculty of Law. Her academic interests include history and culture of Polish Jewry and the history of the Jewish press. Her book, Between Poles and Jews, The Development of Nahum Sokolo's Political Thought, was published in a series of the Center for Research on History and Culture of Polish Jews in 2005. Why I'm reading this right now is just to remind our listeners that your expertise is in history, is more based
more than history,
more based in history rather than one of a religious.
Right. And as I define myself, I'm not a religion person.
Yes.
I'm Jewish. Jewish culture is part of my life.
Yes.
Part that I'm proud on it, but I am not a religion person.
And I must also apologize to you also. I don't know if the producers let you know earlier that we are a Bible-based radio station group.
Basically, the producer didn't tell me, but it was fascinated, to hear you and hear your argument and your belief about the Bible. It's very exciting.
Yes. And we teach the Bible, and we identify with the Bible to know that we are part of the 12 tribes of Israel. We are the people who are suffering the curses that is spoken of in the book of Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter. So this is why when why a lot of the questions are coming from a what we say a religious point or a biblical point of view. You understand me? But this
Yeah,
is,
yeah, I totally understand.
This
Yes.
is who we are. We have, we have done the research and the history to find out that, and I found out that we are the true children of Israel, not by conversion, but by blood.
Right.
So this
okay.
is
I understand what you mean.
This is the passion that everyone has been expressing.
Right.
Tonight.
Right. Yeah, yeah. The passion.
Go ahead.
The passion expressed very, very clear and in a very, very clear way. Yeah. That was very, very clear from the people who spoke. And I think this was very, very important dialogue and very, very interesting dialogue. It's always very interesting to hear people who, think different from you. It's very important to know about other and to be open to new ideas. So this was very, very interesting experience for me.
And like we said before, it's not like we just sat down in a room somewhere and then okay, we're gonna tell people that we are Jews or so on.
Right.
It has been researched, and like I said, we will give you the information thoroughly.
I would love to read more about it. Yeah.
Thoroughly. Okay.
Okay.
Let me go to the next caller. Let me remind everyone we're down to 5 minutes of the live show. The show will go into overtime. If you have not called in, you will be disconnected. The numbers to call in is 646-200-4309. You can head over to the Ustream channel for the broadcast, and I think we are going to broadcast tonight for the first time. We're going to try doing it on Caster FM for the overtime part of the show. That is, if you go to http://searchengine.caster.fm. Okay, that is searchengine.caster.fm, and we will be broadcasting for the first time tonight there. We're doing a test run. Sorry?
Hey, Gaja, I know we only got 5 minutes before the public goes off, all the listeners. I just want to put something out there within the next 2 minutes before we go to the other side.
Okay.
I want to put this out there because there's videos out there where people are putting things out there, claim that there's contracts and all this stuff there. And don't believe none of that mess that people are putting out there. Number one, you can't talk about migrating into another country without criteria being sent so that people will know how to operate. And as you can see this, there's none of the people who've migrated, who have been with us, have put out any videos of any of the things that they claim that's going on. So it's bold-faced lies. It's obsession with us trying to tear down the word, and there's no truth to it whatsoever. Okay? Yes, we do have a questionnaire out there for those who would want to migrate. But what do you expect not to have a questionnaire? Do you expect not to be able to communicate with people and let them know what the criteria is? When usually if you don't give them anything, they'll say, well, you're talking about leaving, you're talking about doing these things, but we don't have no platform to go from. So, yeah, there's a questionnaire because we have to know who's who. There's nothing wrong with that. Another thing, the people that are putting this out there, we probably met these people probably one time in our lives. We don't even know these people. So I'm saying that be careful of some of these people who are floating things around, claiming things that are bold-faced lies, and that couldn't be, there's no truth to it. So beware of some of those things, all right? And that's all I have to say. I don't even have to put out anything. People just do this for attention because if they didn't put the GOCC or the church in their tag, no one would follow them. So just ignore that mess. It's no truth to none of that. There's no people that was affiliated with our church dealing with that. And I want to put that out there. All right? And because they put that out there and they claim that some person, they claim some person sold something, sold their house and got stopped. We don't even know these people they're talking about. So just be careful with it, okay? I'm just putting it out there because they're there to be a stumbling block to the brothers and sisters. That's it. We don't even know. Listen, these people are obsessed. All right? So I'm just putting it out there for you all. There's no truth to any of what they're putting out there. All right.
Yeah, man. And just to remind everybody where you are, you're locked into the Search Engine International. I'm your host, Brother Gaja, with me, Elder Rakar. The guest tonight in the studio is Dr. Ella Bauer. All right, been a very interesting show so far. We are down to the last minute of the live broadcast. So to follow us, you need to head over to, like I said, to the Ustream channel if you'd like to partake more in the show. Or you can go back and hit the archive on Blog Talk Radio, and you can listen to the show in its entirety from the top. Okay? Now, just to make this transition over into the next side, what I will do is I'll play the 10 Commandments. I played it earlier. I'm going to play it again, and then once you take the callers again.
Exodus chapter 20, verse 1. And the Most High spake all these words, saying, I am the Most High your power, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven images, or any likeness of anything that is in the heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them, for I, the Most High, thy power, am a jealous power, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generations of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto the thousands of them that love me, and keep my commandments. Thou shalt not take the name of the Most High in vain, for the Most High will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Most High thy power. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. For in 6 days the Most High made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in them is, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore the Most High blessed the Sabbath day, and hallowed it. Honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land which the Most High thy power giveth thee. Thou shalt not murder, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house, thou shalt not cover thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything that is thy neighbor's. And all the people saw the thunderings and the lightnings and the noise of the trumpet and the mountain smoking. And when the people saw it, they removed and stood afar. And they said unto Moses, Speak thou with us, and we will hear. And let not Ahiah speak with us, lest we die. And Moses said unto the people, Fear not, for Ahiah is come to prove you, and that his fear may be before your faces, that ye sin not. And the people stood afar off, and Moses drew near unto the thick darkness where the Most High was. And the Most High said unto Moses, Thus thou shalt say unto the children of Israel, Ye have seen that I have talked with you from heaven. Ye shall not make me gods of silver, neither shall ye make unto you gods of gold. An altar of earth thou shalt make unto me, and shalt sacrifice thereon thy burnt offerings, and thy peace offerings, thy sheep, and thine oxen. In all places where I record my name I will come unto thee, and I will bless thee. And if thou wilt make me an altar of stone, thou shalt not build of it of hewn stone. For if thou lift up thy tool upon it, thou hast polluted it. Neither shalt thou go up by steps unto mine altar, that thy nakedness be not discovered.
Yes. Shalom, everyone. Welcome. We've been down to the final hour of the show. All right. My guest in the studio, Dr. Ella Bauer, and also with us, Elder Rakar. So we're gonna open up the phone lines and take some more questions and comments. We have Vern in the 864 area. Shalom.
Shalom, brothers. How y'all doing this evening?
Very well, man. Very well. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Just want to give y'all congrats on a great show this evening. A lot of great information was coming forth. Appreciate all the great work that Gathering of Christ Church is doing, in the world. Opening up a lot of minds to a greater understanding like mine. And I was kind of hesitant about asking my question that I had for tonight because it had to deal more with historical information. But the elder came in earlier and kind of talked on it, and it kind of made me feel a little better. Like Most High know what's on my heart. But basically, my question was, in dealing with the issue with the Jews, was during my studies. I read John 4:9 about Jesus' confrontation, but when he spoke with the woman at the well, the Samaritan woman, and they had spoke and said that Samaritans has no, she questioned why Jesus asked her for water, and he said they have no dealing with, Samaritans have no dealing with Jews, basically what was said. And it took me back to my question, I guess, is I was doing some research on my own and ran across a story about John, I think Hyrcanus with the Hasmonean dynasty, which was one of the tribes of Judah, that actually conquered some of the lands in Idumean. And how the Idumeans originally, I think it was like 2 centuries BC before Christ came on the scene, and how some of the Idumeans, which became Romans, how they was given a choice to either accept the laws and follow the law, statutes, and commandments of the tribe of Judah at that time, or they could be killed. So the men got circumcised, and they accepted the laws and started falling after them, and that kind of led to the convergence of them being converted into Judah at that particular time in Jerusalem area when Christ come on the scene. But my question that I wanted to ask, and maybe Elder can help me with, is in 2 Kings chapter 17, when the Babylonians conquered Judah then, not Judah, but when the Assyrians had conquered, let me see if I get my information right. Yes, when the king of Assyria had conquered the land of Samaria and had the Israel, I guess the 10 tribes exiled, he brought Babylonians and others to come in and resettle that land. And, of course, God sent the lions out to attack them. So they got one of the priests. They set up priests from the exiles to come back in and teach the people that some was Babylonian, Kutar, Ava, Hamath, Sepharim. They came in and settled those lands, and they was taught the ways of the Most High because he sent lions that was there destroying them. And they so basically those folks that was in Samaria that reoccupied the land took on the identity of the tribes that left because they was taught how to stand tall in front of and walk in the ways of the Most High so that he can take that curse of those lions attacking them off of them. Okay, but they started falling after those. They brought in their own gods too. They brought in gods from the Babylonians and Sukkoth and Banoth and just a whole lot of names of Shema. My question is, are these the same people, the Samaritans? Are these the same people as the Idumeans who was conquered through the Hasmonean dynasty? They all kind of merged into that area by the time the Messiah got on the earth. That's my question this evening.
Okay.
Get some understanding.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, that was the northern kingdom. You got that?
Okay. Yes, sir.
Now, here's where people get a little mixed up at. They see the word Ashkenazi in the sons of Japheth, right? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I'm still.
Okay, they see. Let's show you some of the confusion that's out there. They see the word Ashkenazi, and they try that to the Jewish people because they were so-called in the land of Ashkenazi or the Japhetic land. But we know that they actually conquered that land after the Greeks and renamed themselves. They're not Ashkenazi at all. The word Nazi of the Germans actually come from Ashkenazi, the word of one of the sons of Japheth, to make people believe they're Japheth, but they're not Japheth. They took that area and conquered it after the Greeks.
Correct.
Now, when it comes to the land of Samaria, in 2 Kings, the 17th chapter, those people that were placed in the northern kingdom, a lot of them are in the land till this day. And see, a lot of them have not been displaced. The sons of Lot are still there. The sons of Moab are still there, which are the Palestinians. A lot of these people took on the ancient cultures, but they are not the people. And it tells you in the book of Amos, that they will be rooted out. That's what's going on over there now. So a lot of those nations, believe it or not, was overran after what you would call the Crusades or the Muslim invasion. A lot of them was overran, and Ishmael took over the government of the majority of these places we're talking about here. But all in all, they are still in those respective areas that they were placed in the northern kingdom. Absolutely correct. And that's why Christ told the disciples not to go into Samaria, because the Gentiles were there. Even though they were practicing so-called Judaism, they were not of the lost tribes of Israel.
Oh, okay. Yes, sir. And that's what my understanding was leading me to. And because I have dialogue with some Christian church ministers and different things about everything spiritual, don't dig into the history. But for me, and I come out of church. I used to be a deacon at a non-denominational church and an armor bearer to a pastor. And what I find is once you understand who the people of the book is from the records, it expands your realm of spirituality, because then you can see, the earth around you and the societies, and have a better understanding of who and why, the world operates in the function that it operates. If that makes sense, you know what I'm saying? And,
well, that's a key point you're making, because one thing that we usually say pertaining to this is that there's no other rational explanation for people that are suffering by the hands of all nations. The only rational understanding is these people are under the curse because they broke the laws of God.
Yes.
That curse is written of in Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, even leading to the slave ships. That's in Deuteronomy 28. So a lot of us think that there's just racism and bad people and all the other races just don't like us. That's not the case at all. Because of the sins of our forefathers, as you know, we have suffered a curse for a time, but now our curse will soon be at an end, now that we're coming to the knowledge that we are the Hebrews, that there is a law that pertains to us, that Christ did die on the cross as a lamb without blemish so that he can sacrifice himself to give us an opportunity to come back to our father Abraham and the promises that comes with it. So, yes, that's the piece that churches and all these other religious institutions have totally ignored. The fact that just like the Gentiles have their own gods and religion, the Hebrews had their God whom law we're broken. So the key is not to point out to other people and hate other people, but to reach out to our people and tell our people it's time for us to come back to the law, statutes, and commandments, so that same God can now give us the promises that he promised to our forefathers. That's the key point there. All right?
Yes, sir. And I appreciate that, Elder. And I'm glad you harped on the curses, because, I recently had dialogue with a guy, and it wasn't confrontation, it was, all in love. And, we came to the same understanding, there must be something to us, because we see a lot of, you look at the society, you look at the world, you look at our jobs, go to work. We see, folks of other nations, they do, underhanded stuff, or they do contrite, you know what I'm saying, living, and it's like we seem to think they go unpunished, but then as soon as we would like to step out of bounds or go away from the laws or do an act like that, you know, immediately we're confronted with our, you know, punishment, if you want to call it, or chastisement from the Most High.
Hey,
and, yes, sir.
Hey, don't want to cut you, bro, right? Points well taken. I just wanted to go through the calls because we're kind of limited for time right now.
Okay.
I'm going to put you back in the queue, man, but yo, all your
Thank
points.
you, brother. Good dialogue.
Yeah,
Okay.
man. Really good, man.
Thank y'all, brother. Y'all be blessed. Thank you.
Man. Shalom, brother. I'll just hit one for me. Thank you. Let me head over to the UK. There's Brother Daniel with a comment. Brother Daniel, shalom. Just keep it, if you can keep it to 2 minutes for me, please, brother, so I can go through some of these calls real quick. I want everyone to get a piece tonight. Shalom, are you there? Shalom, Brother Daniel. Can you hear me?
We just probably got to get the next call there.
All right, let's go to the next call. Brother Daniel, I'll come back to you in a minute. Let's go to Brother Eric with a question. Brother Eric.
Hey, shalom. This brother Kamar. But, you know my name. Yeah, my name Eric, but my Hebrew name is Brother Kamar. Shalom, Elder Rukar and Brother God. How y'all brothers doing?
Shalom. Bless you, brother. Shalom.
Shalom. I had a question for you, Elder Rukar, and I just wanted to get your opinion on something, if you don't mind.
Okay. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, I was looking at. I'm glad you all played the Ten Commandments because that's what my question is around. I was looking at the laws of Ma'at, right? And I don't subscribe to them at all, but I was just looking at something. And I was noticing it's 42 laws of Ma'at, and a lot of people like to say the Ten Commandments were stolen from Ma'at. But as me and a couple of brothers and sisters was looking at Ma'at, the 42 laws, we noticed a lot of things as opposed to, like, for example, the 42 laws of Ma'at says, I haven't did this, I haven't did that, and I haven't done something, basically, right? And also, we noticed that the 42 laws of Ma'at doesn't touch the touch around the thou shalt not serve any other god. And I'm make my last statement. I'm just open it for you to give your answer. I noticed also too that they say that the Ten Commandments came from the 42 laws of Ma'at. But my thing was, okay, it's 10 commandments, but it's 613 laws. So you telling me that the Most High only needed 10 commandments from the 42 laws of Ma'at and had 613 laws that he gave to the Hebrew Israelites? I mean, that's hypocrisy. So I don't understand it. So I just wanted to know, what did you think about the that saying that the 10 commandments was from the 42 laws of Ma'at?
Brother, this is what you have to understand.
Mm-hmm.
The dialogue is not about where the 10 come from. Listen to it clearly, what they're trying to do. They do this with all religion.
Mm-hmm.
You have to realize the Bible is the most publicized, sought after, paid for, most published book in Earth's history.
Mm-hmm.
So in order for any alternative religion or any philosopher or whatever, or religious sect to get some type of respect, they have to claim that something of the Bible came from them. And listen to it clearly. So it's deeper than just that. Just like Islam, they don't usually come to you in your neighborhood with the Quran. They tell you that Muhammad is written of in the Bible. And by deceiving you into believing that, it leads you into the Quran. So these are more so tactics to get you out of the book and not to believe the book, only to transition you into another form or belief or convert you into another religion. That's all it is. It's just a tactic.
Okay.
Listen, the reality is the 10 Commandments and all the laws were passed down since the beginning. Noah had law. That's why he knew what clean and unclean animals to put on the ark. It was just made in stone. It was made in writing during the time of Moses. But the laws were word of mouth before Moses was on the earth. People knew not to commit adultery before there was the Ten Commandments. People knew not to steal before there was the Ten Commandments. So to say that those Ten Commandments came from anything is utterly ridiculous. Because you don't need it written to know that you're not supposed to take what belongs to someone else. It was always a law. It was always a law. In every society, you're not supposed to steal from someone. So you can't say, well, because we had it written not to steal before the commandments, they must have stole this law from us. No. Because we were in Israel. We was in Egypt before we got into Israel, and we knew it wasn't right to steal from each other.
Well, let me. Would it be safe to say that since Abraham, when he went to Egypt the first time, gave them the understanding of mathematics and things of that nature, that he could possibly give them the commandments as well, or the laws that he learned, or the laws that the Muslims?
Listen, the reason I wouldn't go there, because by doing that, you'll be giving confirmation to their madness. Okay. I wouldn't say Abraham gave them anything, because then that will guide our people to say, well, okay, Abraham gave them that, so let's go into this too. You have to understand their objective. Their objective is to get you out of your book into an alternative belief that leads to idolatry. Okay?
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, now you're welcome. All right.
Okay. Okay, everyone. All right, we're down to the final segment of the show. If you have a comment or a question for if you've heard of the show so far, just hit 1, and I'll take your call momentarily. With that, Elder Ricard, I think there's something you wanted to add for this last segment.
Okay, you're breaking up a little bit.
Well, let me get.
How it goes?
Let me see. How am I? Am I better now? Can you hear me better?
Yeah, you're still breaking up, but it's okay. I mean, I hope everyone can hear me clearly. First off, the first thing I wanted to say is I'm glad the Most High gave us the spirit to go into those holy days, because the more we go into it, the more we understand the Most High has given us the truth leading into the wilderness to the time that Christ returns. Now that we know when the new year really starts, and that the Sabbath is so-called Friday sundown to Saturday sundown flawlessly 52 weeks in a row, we understand why now they try to deceive people into saying that claiming it was a mystery when Christ died and when he resurrected. We found out that first day of the week in the gospel was translated first day to confuse people. It's really one day between the Sabbath. It didn't say first day of the week at all in the gospel. That's number one. Number two, they said it was a mystery on when the waving of the sheaves is. But I'm going to go into it on the Sabbath to prove that it's the day after the Passover, and it can be proven. The reason that the Christian church didn't want people to know it's the day after the Passover is because if you know first fruits in the waving of the sheaves, you'll know Christ was actually crucified on a Sabbath. Therefore, if he was crucified on a Sabbath, which is before Saturday sundown, there was no way possible Christ could have rose on a Sunday and outgo Sunday worship. Okay? Christ was crucified on a Sabbath. The next day is the waving of the sheaf. After that, you count 7 Sabbaths from Christ's crucifixion, and you get first fruits. And that's when the Holy Spirit came down on the disciples in the book of Acts. 7 Sabbaths after Christ's crucifixion. So when I realized, because I did some research, and there's this big mystery on what day Christ was crucified on, and there's a great mystery on when is the waving of the sheaf, when is the first fruit. They did this so you don't know that Christ actually was crucified on a Sabbath, and that they lied on that first day of the week in the gospel. When you translate it in Greek, and we had someone send us a message who speak Greek from Australia, who have family in the Greek islands. She said it blew her away because she went and read what we were teaching in the Greek, and first day of the week in the Greek is not there. What it's saying is, one day between Sabbaths, Mary went to the sepulchre in Christ, and the rock was rolled. So it didn't give you a first day of the week in Scripture. They lied. They took their word one and made it first so that they can deceive the world into following the Babylonian Sunday worship. So I want to make sure we're going to clear that up and go over those this coming Sunday. And we checked and double-checked all the holy days are good, and we have it established because the cycle is so great that now we know the holy days for the next 20 years if we need it, all in succession without separation. All praises be to Ahaya, Ashar, Ahaya. You cannot follow holy days based on the moon. So I thank the Most High for that. Another thing, the other thing I wanted to talk about, all right, is when it comes to migration. I just wanted to put that out there. There's many people who've migrated with the church, different parts of the earth. Okay, and of course there's criteria because you can't just go out there and not have any direction. And we want to know whether or not people are following other doctrine, what their objectives are. Of course, we got to have a questionnaire to find out who people are, especially meeting people predominantly online. We do have a process in which if we can link you with an elder, we try to link you with an elder so that they can get to know you before you take the next steps in migrating. But what people shouldn't do is just get on a plane or buy their tickets or just sell their house or whatever the case is and get on a plane and we don't even know you. You understand? So what you should do, you can link with an elder and they'll give you the steps in which, and they'll give you the next steps from there. And we will send an email to gatheringasone@AOL.com and say, you've been with the church, what is the criteria? And listen, if you just a person right now who just started learning a week ago and seeing something online and just want to leave the country, it can't go like that. You have to build a rapport with an elder, and we can establish that. If you can't do that, then the only other option you can do is some of the information that we put out there on the safe places outside of Babylon that you can actually do the research and displace yourself until further notice. All right? Well, if the elders in Florida don't respond to emails, send the emails back to me, all right? And I'll get with Elder Purnell and find out what's going on there. All right? All right. The next thing I wanted to talk about. Someone says, the scripture says a woman's supposed to be put away for 7 days on her flowers. Does that apply here in Babylon? You have to realize that law, you have to understand the grace concerning that law. Why? In that law, it tells you if you touch if you touch any material in which a person had an issue, whether it be a woman in her flowers or someone who cut themselves, you're unclean. Now, of course you're covered by grace, but how can you possibly follow that law when you go into stores where people walk and buy products when they cut themselves? They go into a Rite Aid and they buy products. Women buy personal products for that time of the month. So they're unclean walking around, and you're touching the same thing she touching. So you have to understand the grace concerning that. Also, in the old law, if a woman sat down on a couch or touched anything in the house during that 7 days, you had to throw it out. Now, who can follow that? You wouldn't have no furniture in your house. Okay? So you have to understand the law and where grace applies. Now, of course, during a woman's issue, while she's operating, as far as her body cleansing itself, doing what the Bible calls the flowers, a man is not supposed to lie or lie with the woman in that way, intimately. But we all know that already. Nobody's not trying to do that anyway. And it's also, it tells you that the reason it was 7 days because you cannot go into the temple if you were unclean. Well, there is no temple for you to go into. So just be wise when it comes to that. You can't be making people feel like an outcast. Women be feeling like outcasts because of the law. You have some guys be like, you know, you can take the, you know, I'm going someplace else, and the you know, and she feel like an outcast, and that wasn't what it was about at all. Okay, so we just have to be clear on that. Now, you know, if there's an agreement between the husband and wife that they sleep in separate beds during that period, then they can make that choice. You understand? But nowhere grace comes in that, because no one is throwing out their bed. The next thing I wanted to say real quick is I addressed it beforehand, that we have these people who are obsessed with myself and the church, and this is the only way they can get any type of recognition. I heard someone sent me a clip, or someone made almost a 2-hour video talking about a contract about fleeing. I'm like, this is utterly ridiculous. Okay, if we don't, it's not a contract, okay? It's a questionnaire. If you are relating to strangers, you got to have some paperwork down in relation to the person to find out about the person. All right? There is no contract at all. Second of all, okay, it would be totally ridiculous not to have something written down where people would know the criteria of living outside a country they have never been. So we ask questions. Because suppose you're a mass murderer. Okay? Suppose something is going on with you. So they making it seem as if this is some type of secret thing that we are operating and then they claim that we want 10%. Listen, the Bible says 10%. But even if you don't send 10%, listen to this. When people got to move from place to place, there's elders and brothers who go find the places they got to live in. Last I checked, when you find places, you must put money down. There's also a treasury when things happen that's unforeseen, like health issues and things. They need help. They got to be a treasury that can help people who've left the country if something go wrong. Suppose they got to fly back or an emergency happens. So money, you cannot do these things without financial help. So I don't know what's up with our people making it seem evil to say that finances is a part of doing things. It's utterly ridiculous. Okay? So I'm just putting that out there. They're reading this thing, and then they I didn't see the whole thing. I seen probably about 1 minute of it, and I turned the garbage off. You understand? Talking about a sister who didn't want to identify herself, sold her house, and was stopped at the airport. Who told someone to sell their house? We don't know these people. Who knows if this sister even exists? Why was she stopped at the airport? We don't even know none of this stuff, brothers and sisters. So I'm just putting this out there. So the answer to that is, if you're looking to go outside the country, okay, if you're looking to go outside the country, do your research. Operate accordingly with your research. Okay? Do your research, and then if you're going to do it with elders, of course, if you're with an elder, they're going to give you the proper process. Okay? So there is no contract. There is a questionnaire, because while dealing online, you don't know a lot of people. You have to get to know people. All right? And someone said she was always on Facebook telling her business. Well, I don't know the sister, but all I know is, based on the behavior that happened and how she linked into these people who are obsessed with her, it worked out for the better. That means the process is working because she didn't get amongst them. She didn't make it amongst us, so the process is perfect. Okay? Because anybody who didn't talk to anyone and don't know anyone, who would just sell their house and buy plane tickets and haven't spoke to elders, that's not a normal thing people would do. That's not a sound thing. So the process was put in place for situations like this so that we can avoid things like this. Imagine if you should go over amongst brothers and sisters and had an evil eye and start promoting something that was incorrect and telling people lies, like what's going on right now. So I'm just going to put that out there for brothers and sisters so they'll know. We don't even know these people. That's something key too. How can we be the bane of some of these brothers and sisters' existence and we don't even know them? We're just trying to teach the truth and guide our people. Another thing, we never said that salvation hinges with you leaving America. That's a bold-faced lie, okay? How can salvation be tied to what geographical location you live in? What we said was the Most High said, come out of my people. And we said that we must take steps to make sure we make our mind ready so that we can actually displace ourselves from what's to come. Because the Most High is going to send judgment there. And that stands. That don't change. That's thus saith the Lord. Not the gathering of Christ's church. All right? You can be saved and make it into the kingdom and stay exactly where you are. So for someone to say that we claim that salvation hinges with you leaving, you got to leave America to be saved, you can be evil someplace else. So how can another location save a person? All right?
Yeah.
So I just wanted to put those things out there because even though I don't like to, that's why I don't like to give somebody their 2 minutes of fame, because this is what they do it for. They just want to be recognized. No one's recognizing them because they have no one to get on the back of other people's works and try to pick everything apart when they're not doing nothing. Why don't you take that 1 or 2 hours and bring brothers and sisters to the truth?
Mm-hmm.
You know what they're exposing? They're exposing themselves. That's who they're exposing. They're not exposing anything because why? We're all sinners. You can't expose nothing on anybody because we've all sinned. But charity covers a multitude of sins. How can someone expose something and not expose themselves first? Because I don't care what anyone say. At least the Most High made it where I have some works in this earth. At least that can be said. Isn't that positive that I do have work in trying to help people come to the Most High? At least I can say that. There is some works there. Okay? But look at their work. Their work is to try to be an Israelite connoisseur. This is not American Idol. This is not Israelite Idol, where you can sit back like Simon Cowell and critique something until it becomes what you want it to become. So that's all the point I had to make on that. All right.
And just to go back a little bit before on what you were saying about a woman on her side, right? I found it very interesting learning the laws. My grandparents shared separate rooms. You understand me? And I used to always ask them why, and they said that their parents did that. You understand me? Where the wife would have a separate room and like learning more now, realizing that this is coming from this is a custom that we follow, you know.
Yes.
Just wanted to add that.
That was a custom we follow, where the woman during that time, usually you're sleeping, woman and man slept in a different bed.
Yeah, the house that my grandparents had a separate, had a quarters for women. You understand? There the men, you know, one side of the house was some men, and the other side was some women. And I used to always want, you know, it was a strange thing, like for me seeing it, because my parents never followed that. So when I saw the grandparents doing it, I had to ask, you know.
Yeah.
How was that? And this was the answer I would get, that the women and the men had separate quarters, and like my grandmother and my grandfather would share a different room, you know. So it was, you know, you see lifestyle, the Hebrew lifestyle from way back, you know, and not necessarily just in that, but in also like the way they used to kill the goats. And the way they cook the food, you know, like the cooking in milk, the coconut milk that we use, and all of these things, you know, the custom is rich within the people, but it just got, you know, the source of it got lost somewhere, you know. I just wanted to add that to it, man. But yes, go on.
I just want to say this, and I want brothers and sisters to be encouraged, because I know, going back to this, because you said some sisters came to you and they were concerned because it's targeting people who usually have worry or doubt or just don't know. That's who it targets.
Yes.
And only thing people have to realize is you have to look at works and not concentrate on what these people are saying. You understand? These people are going to do what they do until, until the Madrid fault line hits. They're going to be hating until when they should be focusing on making it. And that's why these sisters and brothers need to just deal with the faith of the Most High and strengthen their faith, so that no matter what they see, they're not shaken.
Mm-hmm.
That's the key thing. So it's less pointing to these other people and looking within yourself and see if you have the spiritual fortitude to make it through this. That's what all these trials are.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, if you have any doubt, you have any fear, there's going to be something out there that's going to play on that doubt and fear. And you can't blame the Gathering of Christ Church for that. You can't blame no brother or sister. It's the Most High having you face your own fear.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I know they're going to be hated. That comes with the word. Christ says we will have haters. So I don't have a problem with that. But when you see those haters, understand, if you take anything from them, eventually you will become what they are. Because demons jump. Demons jump. You're going to be a wild, stray bull roaming alone. None of these people, out of all the knowledge they claim they have pointing out us, none of them came together to do anything. None of them. They're all alone with the computer. So, do you want to be that? So that's what you have to view. That's your test when you see these things. What is their real objective and what are their works? And will I just be on a computer hating by myself like they are? Okay.
True that, man. The keyboard warfare, you know, and
exactly,
and the grouping mentality. That's what it is. But you know, they are preying on women. I see they're going for a lot of the sisters. You understand me? You know, sisters. You know, I've had 2 sisters who have approached me on the topic. You understand me? This is why when I saw the video, it made me upset to some degree, you know. But it's like one of them, like you said, man. You know, let's not give them no fame on it, because it's lies. You understand me? You can't build nothing on lies. It will collapse.
Listen.
everything else.
I understand you was vexed because that, that's that Benjamin thing. But I'll tell you, man, I'm so used to it.
Yeah.
Just like when, like there was some locusts in Egypt last week, and you had this one guy who was just been a hater, been infiltrating the whole time as if he was amongst certain brothers, and he's not even with our church, insinuating, saying, "Don't come to Egypt. The Most High's prophecy is shown, don't come to Egypt." And he's a lone dude with a camera in Egypt. Hold up. Filming the locust. So my question is this, and that's why I favorited 4 different videos of last year showing locusts all over the earth. There were locusts in Sacramento, California 8 months ago. As many as was just in Cairo. Are you going to say leave America because there was locusts in Sacramento, California?
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm saying is people find anything they can to try to sideswipe and try to come against the truth and say that it's wrong to leave and wrong to travel. Let me tell you this, and this is straight off. They try to attack in these areas because they cannot deny the truth that the Most High allowed us to bring from this church. And I'm going to tell you this. All of them people out there are saying Ahia all on their videos.
Mm-hmm.
So you mean to tell me the Most High could use us to reveal His name and the truth of Him, but yet you're going to come against the same people whom the Most High used to bring it to you?
Presumptuousness.
So this is what listen, we're going to have this, brother. We're going to have it all the way in the wilderness.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I tell you in Zechariah 13th chapter that 2/3 of us are going to get killed in the wilderness. Because we can't stop biting and devouring each other. And when we come together, somebody always trying to knock down someone else to get some level of respect so that they can be recognized.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get recognized for knocking down your own brother. Not positively anyway. Because if you knock down your brother, guess who's next to be knocked down? You think you want the position. You think you want to be in position to do something. But then you become a target.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? But who can withstand all the ridicule? Who can withstand all being targeted and still bring forth under His Most High, even if it means their life? Who's willing to go all the way out to the end, regardless of all the hate and all that? I'm not going nowhere. You can hate me. You can say things about me. You can say things about my past. I sin just like every other man, but you know what? I never stop fighting. I never stop fighting. And I will continue to fight for our people, even if it means my life. Now, if that's not enough, you can't get nothing else. I'm not going to fold up in some corner somewhere with a computer hating on people. I'm going to raise Israel. Every time you try to attack us or come against us, the Most High is going to reveal more understanding to verify that He's been with us. Hate on that.
Hey, man,
what you got?
We're down to about 2 minutes of the show before we get cut off. Well, there's nothing more we can say to that, can we? Let it go out there, man. Understand me? I feel it, man. I felt it. I felt angered by it last night. You understand me? And this is what this was, because we are trying to build. We are trying to build Israel, to raise Israel. When you get these people coming to tear it down, man, to what end? For no gain, or for a big up, for nothing, man. And it's sad, and if it was quote unquote the enemy doing it, man. But it's our own. You understand me? It's our own, man. you know, sad, man, sad, but yo.
Well. Let's go to Skype. We're gonna go in a little overtime, and there's a few things I just want to bring out. You can just come together to Christ. I'm here because this is about to cut off in a second, right? When it cuts off, we're going straight to. I'm going to call you on Skype.
Okay, no problem. Let us.
All right.
Let's end this on this side. Let's end it with this. End it with.
Okay.
Yeah, man. Let's end it on this with this. No, I'm trying to find something here. End it with here. One to the stars.
Hold up. Don't end it yet because we still on.
No, it's coming. Yeah, we'll have a couple seconds before it comes up. I'm just gonna play a track till it cuts
Okay. Well, let's do it. Let's see how long it keeps. Oh yes, we're gonna talk about the show tonight. Where you at, Gocc?
I'm here. Can you hear the track playing, bro?
I can't hear the track playing now, but I can hear you. We got some airspace we could be talking in.
All right, man. Go. I think we're gonna cut off in about 10 seconds. In about
Well, doesn't matter if we cut off. If they come in with their advert, we'll just go straight to you straight.
All righty.
All right. I mean, we'll go straight to. We'll go straight to Skype. For those, you want to put your Skype out there, Gocc?
Yeah, man. Go ahead. Search engine 90.1.
It's the Warrior, right? The Warriors.
The Warriors.
They type in the Face Warriors in Skype. They'll be able to get you. Yeah, I don't think we're being cut off, brother.
You know what, man? There's something going on there.
Anyway, interesting guest tonight, right?
Yeah, man.
Man, she admitted some serious things here.
She did, man. She did. You know what? I thought she would have been out from when once she started to talk on certain things, but she stayed, man. She stayed with it, and she was willing. She was one that said she's willing to take the information and look into it. So we have to make sure that she gets
Hold on, Storm. I think I mistakenly brought someone into our radio show here. Hello?
Yeah, shalom, it's brother Gabar from the island.
Okay, so I was able to bring you into the Skype when you called, huh? Okay, well I'm on the radio. What's going on? Talk to me.
No, I was just because I was listening to the show. You went through the holy days and you went through the Pentecost. I was listening, but I kind of missed a few. I'm trying to understand. How do you count the 7 Sabbaths again?
The way it is you got the Passover lamb, right? And the next morning is the waving of the sheep.
Okay.
So from the Passover lamb to the waving of the sheep, you got to count 7 Sabbaths, and that gives you. So from the Passover lamb to the waving of the sheep. Okay, you got it.
Hello? Yeah,